Naruto God Level System, Chapter 981, 1000. Chapter 181 _ Maori Kogoro's Heartache. Uncle Maori, I want to know how you owe money. Chen sat opposite Muli Kogoro and asked Maori Kogoro. Yuanji and Yi next to Ri were curious when they heard Chen. Why would they owe such a huge sum of money? Maori Kogoro was silent for a while, sighed and then said, "Oh, I was also deceived." Yes, Maori Kogoro was deceived. Originally, Maori Kogoro used this money for investment, but the other party but the donation ran away. You dare to mortgage your house for investment? Uncle Alcoholic, you are very courageous. Yuan Shan and Yi said. Three detectives who don't know anything about the investment committee, all said that I was deceived. I didn't think about making such a large investment before. I used to make a little trouble. I didn't expect to make more than 100 yuan. 10,000 yen. Now Mori Kogoro also wants to understand. He is quilted. If I wasn't so greedy, I would have made a profit of 1 million if I took it as soon as I saw it, but now I have lost all my money. Thought here. Mori Kogoro sighed. Then Yugong looked at Shang Chen, hesitated and said, Chen boy, can I lend you some money? Don't worry, I will pay back the money. 3 Now Mori Guro can find some. The money lent to him seems to be Zan only. There is no FG money for the others. 3 Well, Feiyingli is rich. But even if Mori Kogoro went to beg for food from Liwei, he would not talk to Feiyingli. Uncle Drunk. Chen has taken the initiative to lend it to Shaolin. I lent it to Shaolin, not to you. Yuan Shan and Yi said to Maori Kogoro. Thank you, Chen boy, I will definitely pay back the money. Mori Kogoro said solemnly. Chen put the watch and tell the truth. 10 million yen is nothing to Chen. Thinking about it is nothing. Dong 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 Yi. Someone knocked on the door and Yi Yetu went to the door. Maori Xiaowu instructed Yi to open the door. Why do you want me to go? Yi said dissatisfied. Nonsense, you stay at our house. Eat our house, live in our house, and let you do something without doing anything. Kogoro Maori laughed even more with Yi Sanshin. It seems that he is eating other people's house here. Soon and Yi came back, followed by a middle-aged man. 8 originally lent money to their family because of Chen. Maori Xiaowenlang, who was relaxed, was still a little happy, but after seeing this person. What a good thing love is gone. Okay you, Ozaki, how dare you come here? Mori Kogoro stood up. He took 2 steps to the front of Wei Tang, stretched out his hand and grabbed Ozaki's collar and lifted him up angrily. Brother Maori, let go first. I am also a victim. I have lost more than you, Ozaki said quickly. What's the matter? Yuan Shan and Yi asked suspiciously. 3 inches I said how stupid you are. 3 Isn't it obvious? It should be this guy who pulled Uncle Maori to invest. Chen glanced at Yuan Shan and Yi and said. Yuan Shan and Yi were immediately stunned. What are they talking about? They said that they were stupid. Yuan Shan and Yi were so angry. How could they not find him so angry before? Yuan Shan and Yi both wanted to bite. Aren't you convinced? If you're not convinced, you can come and bite us. Chen smiled lightly. Then he said, I don't know the truth and bite you to death. Yuan Shan and Yi bit Kiba gnashing their teeth. B. Chen's guess was right. It was the guy in front of him who took Maori Kogoro to invest, and the result is also obvious. It's what it is now. You came here to find. What am I doing? Maori Kogoro let go of him. It would be useless to kill him at this time. Besides, he did pay, and it was much more than his. Maori Kogoro let it go for the time being. Actually, I really wanted to borrow some money from the Maori brother, and I really had no choice. I lost all my property. I owe a lot of debt outside. Go away, there's no queue. Kogoro Maori equals I heard that he came to borrow money. Get this guy out of the way right now. He doesn't have any money right now. Where can I borrow money from? Kogoro Mori wanted to beat this guy out. I don't have any money, then I'll go somewhere else to find a way. By the way, Brother Mori, did you call the police? Is it useful to call the police? That bastard should have left the country by now. Kogoro Mori said angrily. Third, Mori Guro really called the police, but Mori didn't expect Kogoro to recover the money that year. even if he did catch it. It is estimated that the money has also been lost. This is a lesson, Chen said to Mori Kogoro. There is no such thing as a pie in the sky, and money is not so easy to come by. Mori Kogoro clutched his heart. This lesson really made him feel heartache. Equals Wang Duo 10,000 yen. All the family property. Ji Ruzhang didn't even have the house, so he was going to sleep too much. What are you doing here? Don't hurry up. Otherwise, I'll be rude to you. Mori Kogoro raised his fist, and Ozaki ran away in fright. Gone. I don't know how many commissions I have to take. Only then can I pay it off. Kogoro Mori said with a sullen face. A commission to be a detective is actually a lot of money, but the main reason is that commissions are not so easy to get. Especially now, without that little devil Conan, now I can receive a lot less commissions. I don't know what's going on. It's like elimination. Kogoro Mori sat down and couldn't help it. With a sigh, in fact, if you are spending money closely, there is no problem in saving more money. It's just that Mori Kogoro is really heartbroken. There is also Shaolin's question. Will Shaolin be angry with him? Right. Where is Shaolin? Mori Kogoro only remembered now. He didn't even see Shaolin. He was too worried about this before. Did not see Shaolin. HMPH. You finally think of Shaolin now. Shaolin went to rest. Last night, she loved to rest all night. He snorted coldly with Yi. In fact, Maori Shaogoro was Shaolin's father. You shouldn't use this tone to speak to Kogoro Mori. It's just that he really can't see the eyes of Maori Kogoro, and he's holding an injustice to Shaolin. A trace of guilt flashed in Maori Kogoro's eyes, and a firm light flashed in his eyes at this time. I can't let Xiao at all worry, he must work hard in the future. Well, this is Maotuan Kogoro's determination, but also, I don't know how long Maori Kogoro's determination will last. I'm going to prepare some food for Shaolin. Hee walked towards the kitchen. Chen looked at Hee suspiciously. Can she really cook? Gong 9_. Chapter 182. When a poison master dong 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 tilde L Chen listened to the sound from the kitchen, he felt a little ashamed. What is he doing? Is it cooking, or paying for it? Tian Chen felt speechless. Chen went to the kitchen, knocked on the door, and looked at Yuan Shan and Yi Shi. Why, I have to continue cooking. He looked at Chen suspiciously, not understanding what Chen was doing. You are really cooking. I suspect you are fighting a war now. Chen leaned against the kitchen door and said to Yi. Hello, what do you mean too? And Yi looked at Chen dissatisfiedly. 3 inches, of course that's what it means. You really know how to cook. One, I doubt that you can order this kitchen. The suspicion revealed in Chen's eyes was not concealed at all. I may cook. Don't underestimate me in May 10 inches, but it's wrong to underestimate people. Heke sneered at Hyuga Chen angrily. Anyway, I don't see that you have any skills. I think I'm much stronger than you. Also, don't give this thing to Shaolin. I'm afraid Shaolin will be hospitalized. Dark dishes. This straight is not Chen's poisonous tongue, but the chapter that he stirs up with Yi. Chengdu couldn't recognize tea. I was afraid that Shaolan would really go to the hospital after eating it. Don't underestimate me, although this dish doesn't look good, it's still edible. He looked at the dishes he had fried, and he was a little insecure when he spoke. To be honest, he was not sure whether he could eat it or not. It can only be said that it can be eaten, and only these 2 words can be used. Would you like to try it? He looked at Chen and said. Chen quickly shook his head, although he was not afraid of anything, but let him also taste this dark dish, and he would not do it after seeing each other. Then I'll find someone else to taste. He thought for a while. I brought out the dish that I didn't know what it was, and wanted to let Maori Kogoro try the poison music. Uncle Maori, you haven't finished eating, I have prepared some food for you. He walked over with a plate. Mori Kogoro narrowed his eyes. Something was wrong. Could Yuenshin and Yi be so kind? Wasn't she disliked by what happened before? Could it be that she wanted to poison, but after seeing the stir-fried vegetables Duan came over? Mori Kogoro finally knew the reason. 2 inches you said to cook for Shaolin before. I think it's better. I will poison my daughter with you. Maori Xiaowu waved his hand and said that Hee's face was very ugly, equals he punched on the table, hard the table was carried out and cracked. Eat it for me, Hee shouted coldly. P94,032 Maori Xiao Kailang swallowed. Why are all the female high school students so powerful these days? He thought that Shaolin was already powerful enough. I didn't expect that there is someone who is not weaker than Shaolin. Chen looked at this man and couldn't help laughing. As for Maoji and Goro's help, Chen thought he didn't see it. Forced to be helpless, Maowen Xiaogoro could only taste the wonderfully named thing of the tomb, but he almost died. This was one of the worst things Kogoro Maori has ever eaten. Mori Kogoro almost lost his temper. Fortunately I didn't give it to Shaolin. Yuenshin and Yi breathed a sigh of relief, but luckily they found this alcoholic uncle to do the experiment. What do you want me to eat? Shaolin asked suspiciously. Shaolin, you wake up, why did you come out so quickly? After he saw Shaolin, he immediately scrambled the dishes he had cooked in embarrassment. To hide. It seemed that someone was decorating before. It woke me up, Shaolan said to Hee. Ha 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 ha. Chen couldn't help laughing too much, and Hee's face became shy and Yuhi shouted angrily to Chen, what are you laughing at? Shaolin didn't know what Chen was laughing at, so she used doubts. The moonlight looked at Chen. It wasn't the sound of decorating before, but the sound of cooking with Yi. It's a bit loud. Damn it, don't say it, or I'll bite you to death. Hee rushed towards Chen angrily, and then covered his mouth with his hand. Playing, cooking with Yi. Shaolin looked at Hee in confusion. Hee seemed to have told her that she couldn't cook at all, right? And I wanted to study with her before. Hee glared at Chen fiercely, and then said to Shaolan, actually, I just gave it a try, it seems that I still need to continue to study. 3. It doesn't matter, if Kazuya wants to learn cooking, I can teach you. Shaolan, don't bother. There is a kind of person who can't learn how. I think it's better to learn how to make heavy medicine with me. Be a poison master 0. Tan Chen felt that it would be a pity not to make poison with Hee's innate talent. It doesn't need anything, just a combination of ordinary green vegetables can make poison that kills people. It's really amazing. Hyuga Chen, how on earth did I offend you? You are so mocking at me. Yuan Shan and Yi asked angrily towards Chen. 3 inches no, you didn't offend me, but I'm not mocking you, I'm telling the truth, don't you agree at all? Hyuga Chen shrugged and said, agree. I really want to kill you now, you give me death. He too can't stand it anymore. It's time to show Aikido. Hee is a master of Aikido, but let Hee attack. Lien Chen's piece of clothing, Kakuzu, can't be touched. You should be lucky, I won't. Get your hands on you, or you'll be down by now. Chen said to Yuan Shan and Yi. Why are you so young? Who did you train with? Yuan Shan and Yi asked A2 in surprise. This is a secret, and I will never tell you. Brown, Che, I don't know that Shaolin, how did you know this guy? This guy is so nasty. He spoke ill of Chen to Shaolin. Don't say that, in fact, Chen's character is very good. Shaolan said to Yuan Shan and Yi. Only you think this guy's character is good, I think this guy's character is very bad, except that he is handsome at 1.2 meters, others are nothing at all. He looked at Ji's handsome face, and Yuhi's little face turned up slightly. I have to say that Chen Suyinghu is really handsome, even she was a little tempted after seeing it, and he quickly used it. Shaking his head, doesn't he just look a little more handsome, what's the big deal? Why are you staring at me all the time? You don't like me anymore. Chen's body read Jin Hee, facing Hee. Asked and Yi saw Chen approaching, their hearts beat violently, and they were very panicked. 3 inches Chen, don't tease Hee. Shaolan immediately took action to pull the library away. Seeing that Chen He and Yi Ling were so close, Shaolan felt a little uncomfortable in her heart, but after being separated from Yi Zaichen, she was relieved, and at the same time, she still had wiped the loss. Chapter 983. He is still ruthless with himself. Shaolan, trust me, I will definitely cook delicious dishes. Zaiwen entered the kitchen, and Chen just wanted to say that he has always been over his head, how much he is over his head. Dare to say this. Shaolin, listen to me, if you don't want my stomach, or if you want to. Stop. Her urchin patted Shaolin on the shoulder and said to Shaolin. It's not that exaggerated. Shaolin couldn't help but said, although the food that he may have made is not very good. But it is an exaggeration to say that he eats dead people. Uncle Lee is a victim, I should know him very well. Chen's eyes turned to Mori Kogoro. Mori Kogoro nodded immediately. That's right, the food made from this almost killed himself. Oh dear, turned her head angrily. Apparently now Shaolin is still angry with Mori Kogoro. Don't be angry, I was wrong. Dad promises that this kind of thing will never happen again. Mori Kogoro assured Shaolin. Actually, it's not entirely his fault. What can you do if you are deceived by others? But this is also a memory skill for Mori Kogoro. Forget it this time. In the future, Dad, you really want to invest. But you must do what you can, and don't lose all the property. 3 Shaolin turned to Maohegoro Cotton wakes up _Mori Kogoro smiles on the price of land. But Dad, you really can't catch the guy who donated money and escaped. Can you catch it? Shaolin asked Mori Kogoro. I heard that I have already left the country. How can I catch this? It's impossible to catch it. Even if it can be caught, it is estimated that the money will be gone. Let's call for the punishment. Mori Kogoro said angrily. This time, you can only admit it, because there is no other way. Everyone ran out of their bodies, even the police officer had nothing to do, he is now a detective, or a detective that doesn't matter. Is there any way to force the confession to be revealed? That's fine, but in the future, Dad, don't drink anymore, we have to save money. Ah, Mori Kogoro's expression is bitter, he won't let him drink, isn't this killing him? Well, that's the decision. Shaolin has already decided not to let Mori Kogoro drink in the future. After all, Kogoro Mori can indeed drink, but that is a large expense. Kogoro Mori's eyes flickered slightly. Although Shaolin said that she was letting her drink. But Mori Kogoro is not helpless. At that time, if you ask for a measurement soon, you will at most lose face in front of the woman. Although Mori Kogoro values his own face very much. But for wine, after thinking about the countermeasures, Mori Kogoro suddenly laughed twice, making Shaolin unable to help but glance at Mori Kogoro. You can still laugh at this time, don't you want to owe so much money? But now it's okay, Shaolin doesn't see her father. Ten are all with a scowling expression. Ah, the messenger in the kitchen shouted, it was Hee's voice, Hua's face changed after hearing it, and he hurried to the kitchen. What's wrong, Mrs. Yi, did you cut it? Or was it scalded by the oil, or did you break the plate? Chen walked into the kitchen slowly and asked Hee. At this time, Hee was covering his little hands. When I use the knife, I am ruthless, I cut my hand all of a sudden. At this moment, several hands are spitting out blood. Are you okay with Hee? I'll bandage you right away. Shaolan hurriedly pulled Hee out. K, really, there are so many troubles, don't force it if you don't know how to cook. Li Xiaogoro complained in a low voice. Before, due to the pressure, Kogoro Maori only drank and did not eat. Now Kogoro Maori is about to starve to death. As a result, this woman who forced herself to be a cook still managed to come up with this. It seems that this meal will not be eaten for a while. If there is, then Maori Kogoro doesn't mind going out for a meal. But now this is the case. I can't afford it at all. Dad, stop talking, go get the medicine kit. Shaolin glared at Mori Kogoro angrily. Net Mori Kogoro shrank his neck. At this time, Mori Kogoro was still very afraid of Shaolin. After all, he just owed a big debt. There was a medicine box at home, and soon Mori Kogoro took the medicine box and handed it to his daughter Shaolin. I'll do it, Chen said to Shaolin. Ah, does Chen claim really know how to bandage? Shaolin asked, looking at Chen suspiciously. Naturally I am a professional. Why, Shaolin, you don't believe me? Shaolin shook her head. With so much elegance, it's not surprising that he can bandage. Not to mention simple bandaging. Basically, anyone with hands will say, but I don't believe you. He said angrily looking at Chen. Tiskai, it's really hard to attack yourself, such a deep wound, it won't get better in less than a week. Chen nodded lightly. Then he said to He. He is quite ruthless with himself, but it can be better today, but if Shaolin bandages it, it's going to be an early stage, the choice is yours. $F bandaging, I'd like to see how you healed my wound today. If it doesn't heal, I'll make you look good. 173 He raised his small fists towards Chen said threateningly. With your small body, you still make me look good. Chen gave He a nonchalant glance. HMPH, don't underestimate me, I can beat you to the ground. I have practiced Aikido, cotton balls, then dipped in live wine, and wiped He's wounds. It hurts. He's brows furrowed, in fact he wanted to cry. It was unfortunate that he was able to cut vegetables. The most important thing is that this Hyuga Chen must be laughing at himself in his heart. However, after thinking too much about Yi, Hyuga Chen was not laughing at her. It's normal for girls now to not be able to cook. There aren't many girls like Shaolin who hold She's fingers, carefully giving Yi a heart-wrenching look at the serious expression. Chen, the little dirty beat up violently, his neck bulging with a layer of Yuhi looking at the handsome Chen, and Yi Shin's heart flashed, if it was his boyfriend, it would be better. After this thought crossed in Yi's mind, Yi immediately shook his head. What's the matter? She doesn't like this guy who mocks her. The person this guy likes seems to be Shaolin, and it seems that Zanlin likes him too. This and Yi can still see it. 9th, 184 chapters. You keep staring at me, do you like me? Chen raised his head and asked Yuan Shan and Yi. Yuan Shan and Yi's face suddenly turned Yuhi, and stammered. Who likes you? I didn't see you. Also, do you see Yuyu? Are you in love with me? Yuan Shan and Yi Zhao said with a snort. Yuan Shan and Yi were surprised that Chen actually nodded. Yeah, he looks so beautiful. Of course I like you. Looking at the smile on Chen's face, Yuan Shan and Yi were moved. Is what he said true? He really likes me. Yuan Shan and Tu lowered their heads, and for a while, even the wound on their hands that was cut by Chell, I can't feel the pain anymore. Shaoli is full of the expression when Chen smiles. Gong, don't worry about it. Chen is just joking with you. Hurry up and bandage He's wound. If you don't do it, I'll come. Shaolan patted Chen's shoulder lightly and said with a light snort. It was obvious that the jealousy on Shaolin's face was right, but Shaolin was jealous just now. At the same time, he was a little wary of the good sisters Yuan Shan and Yi. Fire, theft, and girlfriends, these words also have some truth. Are you kidding me? He raised his head and looked at the smiling face. A look of disappointment flashed on his face, but both Shaolin didn't notice it, but Chen did. The smile on his face was even more. Okay, it's time for you to wrap it up. Chen said to He. It's ugly. He looked at Chen's bandaged wound, and couldn't help but said. But although the bandage is ugly, He really can't feel any pain anymore. It's really amazing, he can't feel any pain at all. The kindness to bandage your wounds, but you actually dislike my ugliness, alas. Chen pretended to sigh. What I said was the truth. Shangshan said yes, what you said is the truth, but you said it like this. But it makes me very sad AP, cut, I think you're wrapping me up like this on purpose. He pouted his lips. By the way, do you still want to go to the kitchen to prepare, next? Wu Yu looked at He and asked. Let's forget it for now. But I will definitely practice cooking hard, I will never give up like this. He is also very self-aware, and now he will not go to the kitchen for the time being, but he has already decided in his heart that he must practice his cooking skills well. 3. Not for other reasons, just want to let the son he was impressed and told him that he could cook well too. It wasn't as bad as he thought. Chen doesn't think he's bad with Yi, because he's nothing to do with him. What qualifications do you have to evaluate how you are with Yi? I'll go prepare. Shaolin walked towards the kitchen, but opened the refrigerator, but found that there were no ingredients in the refrigerator. 3. At this time, she was embarrassed and scolded equals laughing, because she had hidden the ingredients. I haven't done it yet. After dinner, I'll go buy chrysanthemum first. Xiaolin said. Xiaolin, take a good rest, or I'll go buy it. Chen said to Xiaolin. Yeah Xiaolin, you haven't been well. Let's take a rest, stay at home and have a good rest now. He said to Xiaolin that from yesterday to now, Xiaolin really hasn't had a good rest, and she really needs a good rest now. Let's go with this guy. He said to Yi Gui, who wanted to agree, but when he heard this, he suddenly changed his mind. Forget it, I'm fine, why don't we go together? Xiaolan is very unsympathetic to Yuan Chen and He alone in her heart. Okay then. A hint of disappointment flashed in He's eyes, but the expression was not obvious. Xiaolan didn't see it. Dad, let's go out to buy groceries first. At this time, Xiaolin shouted to Maori Kogoro, oh, come back early, I'm going to starve to death. By the way, remember to buy a case of beer. Wu shouted to Xiaolan. HMPH, I want to sing wine again, I tell you, there is no door. Xiao said angrily, Xiaolan. Just pity your father, I really can't live without wine. Go down. Mori Kogoro looked very pitiful. Without wine, Mori Kogoro was really uncomfortable. Before Mori Kogoro wanted to drink, he found that there was no more alcohol. It was really uncomfortable. Ordinary people really can't understand the feeling of the wine bag. Okay, but in the future, Dad, you must not drink so much wine. Xiaolin said to Maori Kogoro and finally Maori Xiaowukao nodded. Xiaolin didn't know either. Maori Kogoro really heard what he thought. He could only sigh helplessly. Then they went out to buy food, and there was a small supermarket not far away, so it was very convenient. And what's inside? The dishes are all there. They are very complete. What do you want to eat with Yihu and Yi? Xiaolin asked Chen and the others. As long as Chen and the others eat what Xiaolin buys, basically everything is cooked. Usually elementary school often follows recipes to make food, but the cook is getting better and better. Chen, what do you like to eat? Eat. Chen smiled and said to Xiaolin. However, Shi, who was next to him, spoke up. Really it's so nauseous. He feels like he misses Yi, and at the same time there is a bit of discomfort in his heart. However, Chen's words are very useful to Xiaolin, and there is a smile on her face, and the smile has never changed. Then Xiaolin, after purchasing a horse and preparing for a big meal, Xiaolin also wanted to thank Chenggu Coffee for returning home. Maori Kogoro couldn't wait, reached out and took the beer that Xiaolan bought, and then broke a bottle and drank it. This is too exaggerated. How much does your father love to drink? Wang Qian's. He asked Xiaolin in a low voice. Xiaolin's helpless hand spread out, as to how much her father likes to drink. This little land doesn't know. Kogoro, the anti-war Maori, is addicted to alcohol like his life, and he just treats alcohol as his golden root. Xiaolan, let's prepare a meal together. Maori Kogoro said to Xiaolin, and then he took Chen to go for a drink and said better than the play Maori Kogoro. If he drinks it himself, Xiaolin will definitely control him dissatisfied, but if she takes Chen with her. That's all right, so Li Xiaowulong used Chengui as a shield and said, Xiaolin, let me help you. As long as you don't dislike me for being stupid. He said to Xiaolin. But your hand. Xiaolin pointed to He's injured hand. Can he really help? It's okay, I don't feel any pain at all. I and Yi themselves are also very strange. Why they don't feel any pain at all here, why is it so amazing? _X. Chapter 985. Put away this delusion. Ding bell bell tilde. Xiaolan, your phone is ringing. He reminded Shangshang Elementary School. San, help me watch first. Xiaolan took out her phone and asked He to help her watch the cooking. Hey, it's actually my mother. After seeing the person who called her, Xiaolin was stunned for a moment. Because Jiangli was busy with her work, she rarely had time to call her. Hey, Mom, what's the matter with you? Xiaolin asked Feiyingli. Well, I really have something to ask Xiaolin. Does Maori Kogoro owe a lot of money? Feiyingli asked Xiaolin. Ah, how did you know this? Xiaolin was surprised at this time. How did her mother, concubine Yingri, know about this? You must know that Mori Kogoro said before, don't tell concubine Yingri. Although Xiaolin wants to tell concubine Yingri, she still obeys Mori Kogoro in the end. If he doesn't tell me, I don't know yet. Fei Yingli said. How are you doing now, Shaolin? Maori Kogoro. How Fei Yingli is not at peace. Now Fei Yingli cares about Shaolin. I hope Shaolin doesn't have an accident. I'm fine. Me, so now it's not good. It's Chen. Fei Yingli had some complex thoughts in her mind, and then she put all these thoughts away. Guo Shaolin said, Shaolan, do you want to come and live with us? Ah, I'm afraid I can't now. Shaolin rejected Fei Yingli. Even now her father has calmed down, but Shaolin knows that even if he is worried, he will hide it in his heart, and he doesn't want to let herself know. If she leaves at this time, Maori Shaowushi may be affected. It's broken. After all, the loss is so big all of a sudden, even Mori Kogoro, who is still in a good state of mind, can't bear it. If let his daughter run away because of this, what would Maori Kogoro think? Okay, I see. Fei Yingli didn't say anything, and Fei Yingli had already expected this result. If there is anything that needs to be spent, you can tell your mother. Fei Yingli said to Mao Lilan. Fei Yingli is also quite rich. In fact, if Mori Kogoro told Fei Yingli, for the sake of Shaolin's face, Fei Yingli would also help Mori Zalong. But for the sake of the straight son, Mori, it was obvious that Kogoro would not sue concubine Yingri, and this would not be beyond concubine Yingri's expectations. She had already seen through the drama for that man. Okay guy, I will tell mom about you as soon as possible. Do not worry, Shaolan assured Fu Yingli, but Fei Yingli is actually not at ease. If there is anything wrong with Shaolan, she likes to keep it in her heart, and then she resists. Regarding her daughter's character, does Fei Yingli still understand? It seems necessary to tell Chen to let Chen help her keep Shaolin. By the way, are you free now? I am a big wing. If you have time, you can come over for dinner. Shaolan invites Daoyu to Fei Yingli. Forget it. If I want to eat Shaolin's meal, you can cook it for me alone, and I won't go. What's more, if I go, the man's self-esteem will probably be unbearable. I don't want to see him either. Shaolan's eyes are a little sad. She knows it will be like this, but Shaolan doesn't want to care about these things, and she can't control it. It's good to sing. If I have time, I will go to my mother's place. Well, I hope Lan can come and see me more. Well, I see that I'm still cooking, so I'll hang up first. Erlin said, because Shaolan found out that he couldn't handle it anymore, if he didn't hang up again. The food that was bought with great difficulty will be wasted again. Yeah, Fei Yingli nodded, then hung up the phone. Leave it to me. Shaolin said to He. Okay, it's really hard to cook. He hurriedly handed it over to Shaolin. She couldn't do it anyway. Soon Shaolin prepared a sumptuous meal. While eating, Ting Shaolin said to Maori Shaogoro, my father and mother already know about it. Maori Kogoro, who was originally very happy drinking, his expression immediately stiffened. He put down the glass and asked Shaolin. Did you tell her? No, my mother said that Officer Kimu told her. Shaolin shook her head and said. And Police Officer Jay. Mori Kogoro knew the meaning of the tomb officer after a little thought, and the police palace also knew Mori Guro. Too, knowing that Mori Kogoro couldn't speak, so he put this. The matter came to Fei Yingri. I just wanted Fei Yingri to hire him. In fact, Officer Mumu has been in his relationship for many years, although Officer Mumu seems to dislike him on the surface. In fact, the relationship is very good. So this even Kogoro Mori couldn't blame Officer Yimu. If that woman gives you money, don't take it, I have money. Mori Kogoro said to Shaolin. Che, Rujong is really rich. There is no need to borrow money, and I still borrowed wine to relieve my sorrows in this year. In 9 and EPUB pouted and said bluntly. He is like this, he's relatively small and outspoken, and he can't stand Maori Kogoro's swollen face and looks like a fat man. So he said aloud. Ran's face turned up to Yuhi. Annoyed, he shouted at Hee. What does this have to do with you? Dad. Shaolan, slamming the table, Maori Kogoro suddenly turned off. Because Maori Kogoro feels sorry for Shaolin now, so when facing Shaolin, he feels a little guilty. The future may be a bit more bitter. Maori Xiao Wuren bit Kiba and said, don't you go to her side, Xiao Nei. Myself, I can suffer a little bit, but Maori Kogoro doesn't want Shaolin to suffer with him. Shaolin shook her head. She won't go. Don't talk about that. Let's eat first. Shaolin, your cooking skills are really good. But Bai He did not know how many times stronger. Chen's words changed the subject. I have practiced, and if I practice well, I will definitely not be able to cook Gon Shaolin's cooking. He said angrily. Chen patted He on the shoulder. Looking at Yi's eyes, it seems that he is looking at a guy who is beyond his own power. Put away this delusion. You don't have this talent at all. Even if you practice for a lifetime, you will definitely not be able to graduate. HMPH, I will definitely impress you. Don't think that I can't do it now, but it doesn't mean that you will wait in the future. Let's see. Okay, I really have to wait and see. You two are arguing. Eat well, otherwise it won't taste good. Shaolin said helplessly. The two said, I don't want to quarrel with him either. It's because he is too irritating. That's why I didn't have the slightest demeanor when arguing with him. He whispered. DBL is hospitalized. Pause for a few days. Chapter 186. Fei Yingli's invitation after eating. He glanced at Chen angrily, apparently still angry at his birthday. Maori Xiaofang Lang has already left. Just now, Kogoro Mori received a commission, although it was a small one. The remuneration is a little less, but for Mori Kogoro, who has no money, this is a very happy event. Xiaolan, I am ready to go back. Chen said to Xiaolan, 2 inches go back 3. What are you doing when you go back? Why don't you accompany me here with Xiaolan? He Shang Chen said. Why, do you really miss me? Chen smiled slightly. Then he asked He. Ghosts can't bear you. I wish you would hurry up now, so as not to feel upset when I see you. He Pee said to Chen. Tisk tisk. Hey, what do you mean by Lu Yi too? He was dissatisfied with Yi Chen. The play, it's not interesting. Xiaolan, I'll go first. Chen waved to Shaolin and said, well, Chen, you are on your way. Shaolin said to Chen with a slight smile. It's really just like this. He saw that Chen really left. There was a little disappointment on his face. And this happened to be seen by Shaolin. Shaolin glanced at He a little, and hesitated for a while before speaking. He, do you have a crush on Chen? He made a big fuss about Shaolin's question of being limited to the public, and he quickly waved his hand and said, Shaolin, what are you talking about? I know. I don't like that guy at all, and I even want to beat that guy. He said angrily. Poochie tilde L. Shaolin burst out laughing. Chen didn't provoke you too much, so what? I have to learn to prove that the guy shaves and looks at me. Li Shaolin's expression froze slightly. Now she has doubts, and Yi may really have some good feelings for Chen. This smart Shaolin can still found. Hey, Shaolin, why are you looking at me? Is there something on my face? He asked Shaolin. No, it's nothing. Shaolin shook her head, but she seemed to have something on her mind. Although He could see it, she didn't ask Shaolin why. Chen left the Yuli Detective Agency. When I was about to go home, I suddenly received a call, and it was from concubine Yingli. Hey, sister-in-law Yingri, is something wrong? Chen's Li Shengwang smiled wickedly. Concubine Yingli on the other side of the phone frowned slightly and actually called her Aunt Yingri. Did Chen make a mistake? You should still call me Yingri. Fei Yingli said A120, Shaolin and I are good friends. How can you call each other's mother by name? How rude. Second, isn't it, Aunt Yingri? Chen, the face is undiminished. This man is not allowed to come before. Fei Yingli firmly disagreed, because calling her like that would not call herself the fifth, even if Fei Yingli was a strong woman. Obviously, she doesn't like being called aunt by others, which is an old-fashioned title. If Chen calls her sister, she has no objection. Okay, just kidding. Is there something wrong with Yingri looking for me? Chen put away his smile and became serious. Well, I have something to do with you. Fei Yingli nodded. That she, can you come to my house? Fei Yingli asked Chen. What business do you have to go to your house? Mo, put away the bad thoughts in your mind. Fei Ying said to him. If you can see Fei Yingli at this moment, you can see the concern on Fei Yingli's face. You know, it's not an ordinary difficulty to make Fei Yingli, a serious woman, show a shy expression. What are you thinking? I just want to say, do you want to invite me to dinner? A smile appeared on Chen's face again. That's right. I really want to invite you to dinner. Fei Yingli hung up the phone after she finished speaking, and then told Chen the address of her home. Well, actually Yingli didn't tell Chen, but Chen also knew, because concubine Yingli's home Chen also went. I just keep my eyes on it. Chen found out that the address was wrong. Could it be that Fei Yingli moved? There was nothing to do. Following the address, Chen came to Fei Yingli's house. He knocked on the door lightly with his hand, and soon Fei Yingli came to open the door. Chen glanced at Fei Yingli. Because it was at home, concubine Yingli didn't dress so formally, and was wearing the clothes of the deputy family. 3 inches you didn't live here before. You moved. Sichen walked in and said to Fei Yingli, yeah, the place where I used to be was too far away from my law firm. So I bought it at a nearby place. Got a house. Fei Yingli nodded and said, she's really a rich woman. This house shouldn't be cheap. Chen's Chaoguang looked at it. The location is in the city center, and the decoration is not bad. It is still 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. The area is not small, but it costs a lot. You know, it is relatively easy to make money as a lawyer. Concubine Yingli invited Chen to sit down and said, if I can't eat any day in the future, I'll come to you to ask for support. Chen said with a smile, okay, I don't mind. Fei Yingli took a deep look at Chen. You were with Shaolin before? Fei Yingli asked Chen. Well, I was with Shaolin before. Chen nodded. He knew that before Fei Yingli, he should have called Shaolin, and it is not surprising to know. Thank you so much for helping Shaolin. Fei Yingli said to Chen. In fact, she invited Chen mainly to thank Chen. 2 inches don't thank me, since it's Shaolin, I'll definitely help. But Kong smiled slightly. He said to Fei Yingli, so, I still have to thank me, I'm Shaolin's mother, and I haven't. I knew it right away, and I wouldn't have known it if Officer Yimu didn't tell me. Concubine Yingli shook her head slightly. She was dissatisfied with Maori Kogoro 04. Concubine Yingri was dissatisfied. How is Maori Kogoro now? Concubine Yingli doesn't care, but she has to take care of Lan Lan, and she doesn't want Xiao Lan to suffer. To thank you, I decided to cook by myself and cook you a savory meal. Fei Yingli stood up and said, thank me, I think you are trying to murder me. The corners of Chen's mouth twitched. Dao concubine Yingli's cooking skills are almost the same as Yuan Shan and Yi. It's hard to describe. It is even more exaggerated than Yuan Shan and Yi, so Chen feels that he is not thanking himself. I want to murder myself, and the cooking must be murderous. Don't underestimate me, I am not the original me, and I have studied cooking. Alas, it is not enough to study it, so what if you have studied it? It is still dark cooking that makes dark cooking. Chen secretly sighed. Play. Chapter 987. Talent. I think if you really want to avoid me, you'd better invite me out for a meal. Chen drank the horse water to stabilize Zhao King. Are you looking down on my cooking skills, Chen? Concubine Shiri's dangerous gaze was fixed on Chen. Looking at Fei Yingli, Yuzhen really wanted to nod and say yes, I just looked down on your cooking skills. Concubine Bai Yingli could have any cooking skills, but she gave up in the end. I didn't say it. After all, it was really heartbreaking. It is estimated that the concubine Yingri, who has been pricked, will come and fight her hard. See what beanies you can make fun of. Chen simply looked optimistic about Dai. Fei Yingli clenched her fists, which was quite the same. But Ru Millie didn't argue with Chen, she wanted to slap her face with facts. She put on a very professional apron. Then the concubine Yingri came to the kitchen. In a bucket in the kitchen, there was a fresh live fish. Because I wanted fresh fish, I didn't have any fish that I needed to prepare. I was going to take it back and handle it myself. Then pick up the fish. Those who don't even kill them are thrown into the oil pan. 3. The hot oil makes the fish struggle to the death, and I don't know what the hell the fish is doing. Oil pan. Rent concubine Yingri looked at the splashing hot oil and couldn't help shouting too much, causing Chen, who was sitting in the living room, to twitch the corners of his mouth. Could it be that something went wrong? But all this, it was all in Chen's guess. He knew that Fei Yingli would not do anything wrong at all. Now, when he came to the kitchen, Chen saw Fei Yingli, who was blocking the front of the business with both hands. The pot was jumping happily. Qi and Chen didn't know what to say, and they didn't even know how to describe their mood. They quickly went over to turn off the fire, and then pulled Fei Yingli out of the kitchen first. Fei Yingli frowned slightly. The injuries were all burnt yuhi. The mark. It even blistered. Fortunately, Fei Yingli protected her face, otherwise the face would be burned. It hurts. Fei Yingli looked at her hand and wanted to cry but had no tears. But she was so good that no oil splashed on her face. Otherwise, it would not be as simple as pain, but maybe disfigured. Neil, if you want to go there, you have to ask for it yourself. Where is the medicine box in your house? There's no medicine box, but it's fine. Fei Yingli shook her head. I also said that if these blisters burst, there may be acne. It's not good to leave scars on both hands, Chen said, looking at his concubine Yingri. On the other hand, Fei Yingli's face turned slightly. Yuhi glanced at Chen secretly, thinking that she hadn't been discovered by Yuan. In fact, all of them were seen by Chen. 21,412. Then why can't you go to the hospital? Fei Yingli said. Gee, then leave it to me. Chen stretched out his hand and brushed it against Fei Yingli's double face. Fei Yingli shrank her hand slightly and gave Chen a dark look, thinking that Chen was taking advantage of her. Hey, I'm here to help you. If you don't step on me, it seems that good deeds may not be rewarded. Chen helpless stalled this time. Fei Yingli felt it. My hand doesn't seem to hurt anymore. It seems to be fine. He couldn't help but look at his hands in surprise. He saw that the Ji hanging with both hands did not even have a yuhi mark, just like he was not injured, making Fei Yingli feel a little uncomfortable. It's actually okay, Chen asked. How did you do this? It's amazing, and suddenly Chen seems to have just touched his finger. Could it be okay to get hurt just by touching it? Fei Yingli looked at Chen strangely. You have to know that everyone has a secret. Obviously, this secret cannot be told to you, Chen said tryingly, spreading her hands. Do you want to hide it from me? Fei Yingli suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. That's right. It's still worth my fish. Fei Yingli realized at this time that her own fish hadn't been cooked yet. Concubine Yingli hurriedly ran to the kitchen and Chen followed. At this time, the fish that had been jumping around was already dead. This death is too miserable. I can't bear to look directly, alas. Chen shook his head gently. This fish is really miserable. It's okay. It's not pasty yet. Fu Yingli saw that there was no pastry. Then he was relieved. You can't eat it without the paste. Did your fish throw it into the pot before it was killed? Also, the scales of the stool have not been scraped. How can it be eaten? I found that the concubine Yingri, you are really talented. Chen looked at Fei Yingli and shook his head with a sigh. What do you mean? Are you saying that I'm an idiot? Fei Yingli bit Kiba and asked Chen. Don't. I said that. But it didn't say you said it yourself. Chen quickly shook his head in denial, although he meant it. But he didn't say it. But the quality of Chen already showed that he meant it. Forget it. Let's go out to eat. It's a pity that I bought back the ingredients. Jiangli looked at Shimuya Hongfeng in the refrigerator. With some pity on his face. In the past, the refrigerator in Ryingli's house was empty. Now I finally put some things in, but it's still useless. If I let Gui Yingli come, I will definitely waste all these materials. If you're afraid of waste, you can invite Shaolin over, and Shun023 can ask her maid for cooking lessons. Yes, Ruiying ideally arrived at Shaolin, with a touch of beauty on her face. Zheng Yingri, who is usually serious but rarely smiles. After a long day of work, she finally went out to eat, so Fei Yingri is a complete waste of time. Where? Fei Yingli suddenly thought of something and asked Chen. Yeah, how did you know? Could it be that there is something I told you? Chen asked Fei Yingli in confusion. It wasn't Kun Shizi who told me. She rarely contacts me. There was a bit of Canadian dollar resentment towards Yushizi in Jia Yingli's eyes. It was Shaolin who told me. Shaolin. Chen was stunned to tell the truth, but then it sounded, Shaolin seemed to really know that Yushizi lived in his house. Actually, I haven't been in touch for so long. I thought Yujuzi had already left. I haven't seen her yet. Didn't you have a good relationship with Yuzi before? Why does she live in your house now? Do you have a good relationship now? Fei Yingli asked Wu Yu curiously. No, concubine Yingli, what are you doing? Of course, I was curious. What's more, Yukiko is also my friend. I just ask about it. If you don't say it, forget it. 9th, 188 chapters. The angry Fei Ying said, actually, if Yuchizi is inconvenient to be with you, you can move to me. It just so happens that I am a little bored by myself. Fei Yingli said to Chen, see, it's up to you and Yukiko to talk about this. Chen said, waving his hand towards Fei Yingli. If there is a messenger willing to come to you, then let her come here. Although Chen said so, but he was sure in his heart that Yuchizi would definitely not come to concubine Yingli's side. After all, the relationship between Chen and Yuchizi has been unusual. If before, at the invitation of Fei Yingli, Yukiko may still consider it, but now it is impossible. What do you like to eat? Order it. You don't need to be polite with me. After arriving at a restaurant in Qianjing, Fei Yingli handed the menu to Chen. This is a high-end restaurant, aren't you afraid that I will eat you down? Chen said with a chuckle. I think I still have some money, but it's not so bad to be crushed by you, but I want to know how you can crush me. Fei Yingli said with a smile, as an undefeated woman in the legal world. Fei Ying ideally wants to make money, but it is easy. Too many people will come to Fei Yingli for help because Fei Yingli's straw number is there. Since becoming a law city, Fei Yingli has never lost a case. Of course, Fei Yingli will not take some entrustments even if the price is high. Actually, no matter how much money you have, I can eat you down, but now I've decided to show mercy. Chen's appetite could frighten Fei Yingli to death. No matter how much it is, Chen can eat it. Even if the richest man comes, Chen can eat him and go bankrupt. Concubine Yingli smiled slightly, thinking that Chen was joking. San, would you like a bottle of wine? Fei Yingli asked Chen. Tian, do you still like to drink? Chen looked at Ba Yingli in surprise. I don't know that Fei Yingli likes to drink. Fei Yingli shook his head to Chen, and then said. I don't usually like to drink one, but sometimes I also drink 2 glasses of evening. That's fine. Of course I didn't see Chen, but Chen still likes to drink. Originally, Chen thought that Fei Yingli wanted Yuhi wine, but when the wine came, Chen realized that it was sake. Although sake is one of the 8 major spirits, its alcohol content is not the same. It's not particularly high, but that doesn't mean it's not easy to get drunk. Why, don't you like it? Niu Yingli asked Chen. I can actually drink anything. Nothing to like or dislike. Chen poured himself a cup, and then gave Fei Yingli a cup. After eating a meal for a few hours, it's getting dark. Let's go, I'll take you home. Chen said to Fei Yingli. Because this D is not far from Gao concubine Yingli's home, so Yingli didn't drive, just walked back and got home soon. The wind at night was bitter and cold. Once the cold wind blew, Fei Yingli, who had been a little dizzy, came to his senses. Does it feel a little cold? Chen took off his jacket and put it on Fei Yingli. Fei Yingli was stunned for a moment, but did not reject Chen's actions. She smiled slightly and said to Chen, it seems that you are quite gentle, Chen. I'm just gentle with girls. Chen smiled lightly. 3 inches PFF'd. Min, I'm not a girl anymore, I've already left. Really, I didn't see that you were old, standing with Shaolin, I'm afraid everyone will think you are sisters. Chen's words made Fei Yingli smile. Her smiling eyes narrowed. Obviously very happy. You're slick. It seems that Chen, you are not less likely to hook up with girls. No less. Chen touched his nose and whispered. Soon he returned to Fei Yingli's house. After Chen sent Fei Yingli back, he said to Fei Yingli, I'll go first. Let's go now. Don't you want to come in and sit? Qizhang also wants to leave. Have a cup of tea and go. Fei Ying said involuntarily. It's too late to stay here for a while. It's going to get dark. Then I may stay with you and not leave, aren't you afraid? Chen said with a chuckle. Scared. I think it's good to have a handsome guy like you with me, how could I be afraid? Fei Yingli teased and looked at Chen. But after speaking, Fei Yingli felt a little regretful in her heart. Yuhi's face was ashamed, as if she was saying she Chen on purpose. 3. Forget it, I'm still afraid. Even by you. Chen waved to Ni Yingli. Then he left. Fei Yingli was stunned. Did he despise me? Fei Yingli's heart was full of arrogance. The next time I see him, I must make him look good. But Chen has something to do right now. Just now he received a call from Tomoko Suzuki, so of course he didn't have time to chat with concubine Yingri here. Just now, Chen came back on the phone and said that he won't be back tonight, so let's have dinner. Mingmei said to the girls. 3 inches not coming back. Didn't he go to Shaolin's house? Does he want to stay at Shaolin's house tonight? Kiko asked suspiciously. That bastard stood up sadly and went back to his room. Oh, it seems that Shirley is angry. Bermode looked at Xiao Ai's back with a funny look, and Mingmei looked very incompetent. Shirley, why do you call Xiao Ai Shirley? Yukiko asked Bermode curiously. This doubt has already weighed in Uchizi's heart, and Uchizi also forced him to ask Janmoda before, but Belmod did not say. I'm afraid I can't answer you this question, but you should go and ask Ma Chen. If he told you, it would be clear. If he doesn't tell you, there is no way to wear it. Belmode spread his hands and said looking up. For Yukiko, Xiao Ai's identity is a secret, and Yukiko is not clear. Not only Yukiko doesn't know. In fact, even Kuroba Chikage doesn't know. That guy won't tell me, he hides any secrets from me. Uchizi said with gratitude that she has a deep resentment towards Chen. Suishizi has already recruited him. But he never told her about some of Chiumi. It's just like sitting her as an outsider. If Chen really wants to tell you, he will naturally tell you. With Shizi, you don't have to be so famous, at least he likes you. Belmod said to Yukiko. Cut, you don't have to say good things for him. That guy is so careless, he doesn't know where he is fooling around, maybe he even harmed Shaolin. 3. Uchizi cut lightly, but Uchizi really guessed part of it correctly. Chen was really fooling around, but Shaolin didn't feel hurt. Chapter 980. Threatening Letter. Early the next morning, Tatsuya returned home from Tomoko Suzuki. Hey, Xiao Ai, didn't you go to school? Sanchin looked at Xiao Ai who was leaning against the door. He couldn't help but replied to Xiao Ai. Chen, today is the weekend. Of course, I didn't go to school. You shouldn't even forget about this, right? Mingmei couldn't help saying. Really, I forgot about this. Chen shook his head. Chen never counted days, so he didn't even know it was a weekend. Xiao Ai is not happy. Chen walked over and rubbed Xiao Ai's head, and then Chen's hand was slapped open by Xiao Ai. HMPH, don't touch me. Xiao Ai snorted coldly. Shugu's eyes were fixed on Chen, with an expression that I was not easy to mess with. Where did you go last night? Belmod walked out and asked with Chen. There is a scent on her body, and it seems to be very familiar. Where did you smell it? The little boy who was still disgusted with Chen just now. I came to Chen's side and sniffed, and then said lightly. Chen's body carried a scent. It was still a woman's scent. The most important thing is that Xiao Ai is somewhat familiar with this scent. Xiao Ai, is your nose really that sensitive? 7,102 inches. Chen couldn't help looking at Xiao Gan in surprise. This prince is too sensitive. Humph. Xiao Ai just hummed silently, but Xiao Ai's nose is indeed very sensitive. Tell me, where did you go last night? Xiao Ai asked Chen. This is an adult business. You are a child, don't ask so much. Chen shook his head at Xiao Ai. Obviously, he didn't mean to say anything. Xiao Ai looked at Chen, and wanted to bite him, and stared at Chen with every anger. By the way, I have something I want to do. Ask you. Uchizi suddenly asked Chen. Just when Chen was about to say anything, the phone suddenly rang. Jing took out his phone and saw that it was Fu Yingli who called. I just saw Fei Yingli yesterday. What's the matter? Whose phone is it? It was so out of time. Yukiko couldn't help complaining. Originally, Yukiko still had something to ask. It was Fei Yingli who called. Chen said to Yukiko, "Eri 1, why did she call you?" "No way." Yukiko didn't continue to inquire, and began to guess secretly. "Chenya, I don't know. Could it be because of what happened yesterday?" NP answered. After the phone call, Fei Yingli's voice came over. "Chen, do you have time now? Please come to my house, I have something to do." Okay. Chen didn't have anything to do. After all, it's hard to say Jichu on the phone. Has something happened to Yingri? Then I'll go over and see. Yukiko said with concern. After all, Yoshiko sees the concubine Yingri as a very close friend. If something really happened, I wouldn't be worried if I didn't go to see Yukiko. Chen had no opinion. She left the house with Yukiko, and Xiaoai stomped her feet angrily. "If you want to follow, then say it." Is gone now. It is estimated that he will not be able to catch up. Belmod looked at Xiao-san with a smile. "I recently learned a new ninjutsu technique, and I want to find someone to try it out." Looking to see Ermod. "To find your sister. I'm afraid that after I beat you to tears, you will go to Chen's side to harm you." After Belmod finished speaking, he turned around and entered the room. Chen brought Yukiko, and soon came to Fei Yingli's house. After knocking on the door, Fei Yingli came to open the door. After seeing Chen, Fei Yingli was expressionless. And there is a bit of sharpness in the light. Chen has already detected that this is the case, so he couldn't help but cough twice. "Eri, did something happen to you?" Yukiko asked Fei Yingri. Said, "You Shizi, I didn't expect you to come too." Jen Yingli's eyes only saw Yuchizi, and Yuchizi couldn't help but forgot concubine Yingri at the same time. At the same time, Yuchizi's heart was even more puzzled, and Light could not help but glance at Chen and concubine Yingri. What happened to the two of them? In fact, Yukiko had such doubts in her heart from the beginning, but she didn't have the nerve to ask, and now she doesn't have the nerve to ask. That's right. What's the matter with you, Calvary? Chen hurriedly changed the subject and asked, "Come ahead and talk about it." Fei Yingli let them in, and after pouring a glass of water, he said, "I received a courier this morning. There is a blood-stained knife and a threatening letter in the courier." Fei Yingli took out the knife and the threatening letter. A little panic. Panic woman Jilly, in. The first time I went to call Chen to inform Chen, so that I could feel at ease. 9 inches Eri, did you offend me? Yukiko asked Eri. NR Princess Eri nodded. Then who did you offend? Yuchizi continued to ask. Yuchizi, you also know that I am a lawyer, and I will definitely offend some people, and there are many people offended by you. How do I know who sent it? This is the most helpless place for Shiro Eri, because there are too many people offended. Actually, you should ask Mori Kogoro for help. Or call the police, Yukiko said. 3. Don't tell me that there are more people, I have just called the police. Fei Yingli had already called the police before. I guess the police will be here soon. Yingri, have you received any major commissions recently? Chen asked Fei Yingri. I've received a lot of requests, but recently it's all small things, not big things at all. Isn't this a prank now? Yukiko suspected that there were still a lot of pranks after all. It's just a prank. If it's a prank, that's overkill, too, and it's better to believe it. Fei Yingli didn't want to risk her own life to play with the child and asked Chen. Yukiko was also worried about Fei Yingli's safety. Don't worry, leave this to me, I guarantee that you will be fine, Yingri. Chen smiled at Fei Yingli and said, Thank you, Chen, I won't care about what happened yesterday. Fei Yingli said for a year. Yukiko suddenly opened her mouth. What did she hear just now? Yesterday, Chen and Fei Yingri were actually together. You know, Chen didn't come back all night, thinking of these. Yukiko's eyes looking strangely. Concubine Yingri, looking at concubine Yingri is a little unclear. So, I don't know what Yukiko, looking at her, is doing. Could it be that there is something on her face? Chapter 990. What is the relationship between Yingri and Chen? Yukiko, what have you been looking at me for? Fei Yingri was stared at by Yukiko, and finally couldn't help it, and asked 3 inches ahaha it's nothing, I just think it's been a long time. They become beautiful. Yukiko played late, dodging the light, which made Fei Yingri suspicious. This was not something Yukiko could say. Yukiko, I think something is wrong with you. Fei Yingli stared at Yukiko suspiciously. Something's wrong. What can I do wrong? Yukiko smiled awkwardly and shook her head twice. If you don't want to say it, forget it. Fei Yingli took back the moonlight. In fact, Fei Yingli also knew that if Yuchizi didn't want to say, Chen, since you said that this matter is left to you, then my net worth and my life will all be taken care of. It's in your hands, Yingri said softly to Chen. Don't worry, I promise you'll be fine. Chen talked and said with a smile. Fei Yingli smiled slightly. For Chen's words, Fei Yingli did not know why, but she believed it very much. Soon the police came here, and the person who came was still Mawako. I didn't expect it to be you, Mawako, what a coincidence. Urchin looked at Mawako and said, Chen, I didn't expect you to be here. Mawako glanced at Fei Yingli. Knowing that Fei Zijun is actually Shaolin's mother. Mawako's expression was also a little weird, and at the same time, she glanced at Chen with a slightly contemptuous Qiguang. Concubine Yingri is very strange. Why does Mawako's eyes look so similar to Yukiko's Kichiko looking at her just now? However, as she was not familiar with Mawako, Fei Yingli was embarrassed to ask. Lawyer Fei, when did you receive the courier from Sicheng? Mawako asked Fei Yingli. It's time to go up today. As soon as I received it, I called the police. Fu Yingli said to the poor and you. That is to say, just received this courier not long ago. Mawako, you don't need to worry about this, I will solve it. Chen said to Mawako. Okay, since you have said so, Chen, then I don't have to worry about it. I don't want to worry about this matter anyway. Mawako nodded and said, since Chen said to solve, that must be resolved. Compared with Inri Eri, Mawako is the one who knows Akatsuki Tatsu's abilities. It's too easy for Yichen's ability to solve this matter. Although Dianbuchin said he would solve this matter, Meiheizi did not leave, so let's be lazy here. After going back, there are a lot of things that need to be dealt with, it is better to be a little lazy here. Anyway, Police Officer Kim Yu doesn't know. By the way, Mawako, didn't you make a contribution last time? Why didn't you get a promotion? Chen suddenly asked Mawako. Well, the appointment hasn't come down yet. I guess it will come down soon, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm not particularly peaceful. Mawako said with a shoulder. As for whether or not to be promoted, this Mawako is not particularly flat. It doesn't matter if you can get a promotion or not. Anyway, for Mawako, there is no change in his wife. The current Mawako. It is already different from before. Chen, don't you continue to ask me, have you offended anyone? Fei Yingli curiously asked Chen to help her decide this matter, but didn't ask her until she was convicted. Who the hell is that Chen going to solve this incident like a fox? Fei Yingli is very curious about this. That's it. You'll know when the time comes. Chen bought a clue. If Chen wants to find that person, he doesn't need to ask so much. Actually, as long as you investigate the sender of this courier, you can basically find some clues. Mawako said Chen lightly, since the other party dares to use express delivery, then he must not be afraid to check along this line. So that person may not have sent it in person. Eri, just as you said, you have offended many people before, and even you may not know how many enemies you have. You are useless there. Yeah, even I'm a little confused. Fei Yingli shook her head. As the most outstanding lawyer, a woman in the legal world who has never failed. Of course, there are a lot of people who have offended. Then what are you going to do? Fei Yingli asked Chen. 3 inches Eri, Yu Sha Engsen's work is fine, so don't worry about this. I'll figure it out, Eri, don't worry. Chen patted Yingri's shoulder and said. ... Nangwahua 0___ listening to Chen's words, Fei Yingli felt very at ease. If it wasn't for Mi Kazuko and Yukiko here, Fei Yingli would lean on him. However, I think it seems that this female police officer and Yukiko, a good best friend, are a little annoying. Eri, I have some things that I want to talk to you alone for a while. Yukiko grabbed Fei Yingri's hand and opened her eyes. Yukiko couldn't help but feel the doubts in her heart. So some things had to come out. Only by asking. Yukiko's heart can be calmed down. Can't you ask any questions here? Fei Yingli stood up even though she said so, followed Yukiko to the side, and looked at Yukiko curiously. Before 3, I felt that Yukiko was abnormal. Now, Fei Yingri wants to know what medicine is sold in Yukiko's gourd. She came to Fei Yingri's bedroom. Yukiko closed the door and asked Fu Yingri, what is the relationship between Yingri and Chen? I feel your relationship is not easy. Yukiko stared at Fei Yingri suspiciously, eager to know. Why are you asking this question? Fei Yingli's eyes were a little dodgy. Yukiko's eyes narrowed, and there really was a problem, otherwise, Fei Yingli will never be so panicked. And Fei Yingli, after panicking, suddenly calmed down. She and Chen Haoshin have no problem, why are you so panicked? Anyway, Yuchizi asked this after the question. I suddenly panicked in my heart. You think too much. I have nothing to do with Chen. Fei Yingli said to Yukiko. However, at this time, Yukiko no longer believed in Fei Yingli. Now Yukiko thinks that there is definitely a problem between Fei Yingli and Chen. It may even be with her. It's the same. It's all a woman from a family like Chen. Thinking of having Kiko here is not only a little jealous, but also looks at Fei Yingli with resentful eyes. Yukizi, I found that you are very wrong today, have you changed so much? Fei Yingli asked strangely. Dao, even if we haven't seen it for more than 10 years, it won't change that much. 9th, 191 chapters. A little secret to talk about. What the hell are you two talking about? Chen leaned on the G, and the light went over to Fei Yingli and Yu Zaizuang. There was a curious look in his eyes. Seeing Chen coming over, he wanted to talk to each other equals the concubine of the meeting. Yingri and Tsukiko immediately poked their lips together, then shook the car at the same time and said in unison, It's nothing, Ching Tisk, you two are the same, it seems that you are indeed good sisters. Chen said with a chuckle. Listening to Chen's words, Fei Yingri and Yukiko couldn't help but look at each other, and Yukiko's eyes radiated a strange light. Maybe because of my own. The sixth sense Yukiko always felt that the relationship between Chen and Fei Yingli was not shallow, and whether Zishui was the kind of relationship she thought, I don't know if it depends on Guanzi. By the way, Yingri, don't you have anything to eat here? Kiko didn't have breakfast in the morning, so I felt a little hungry. However, I opened the refrigerator at Fei Yingri's house. It was empty. What about the vegetables that Fei Yingri bought? But those dishes were either wasted or thrown away by the annoyed Fei Yingri. If there is Kiko you want to eat, then order takeout. Concubine Eri said to Yukiko. Then let's go out for breakfast. I guess Eri doesn't have breakfast yet. Chen said to Fei Yingli. It's only past 9 o'clock now, is it still breakfast? Fei Ying said speechlessly. Chen brought Fei Yingri, Yukiko and Mawako to a dessert shop downstairs. Why don't you eat it? It tastes pretty good. Are you still worried about Fei Yingli? Chen saw that Fei Yingli has no appetite. Asked the eagle to the concubine Yingri. Fei Yingli nodded. It would be impossible to say that Fei Yingli let go directly. Chen, don't tell Shaolin about this, lest Shaolin worry about it. Fei Yingli said seriously to Chen. Anyway, she must not let Shaolin know. Otherwise, Shaolin would definitely worry about Fei Yingli and would not let Shaolin worry about it. Chen nodded lightly and said, Don't worry, I won't say this, you can rest assured. Chen wouldn't tell Shaolin. Not to mention this time, Chen will be able to solve the trick soon. In fact, Fei Yingli didn't have to worry so much at all. By the way, how are you going to deal with the guy who sent the letter of fear? I don't even know who it is and there is no clue. How do you find it? Yukiko asked involuntarily. There was no clue. Sherlock Holmes can't find it either. Why is Chen so confident? Isn't he afraid of being slapped in the face too? Thinking of this, Yukiko's eyes looked at Chen strangely. Yuchizi, what do you mean by that look? Chen looked at Yuchizi's eyes and couldn't help but feel a little dissatisfied. This is doubting his ability. Yukiko's eyes were a little dangerous when she saw the bottom, and she felt a little panic in her heart. Concubine Yingri suppressed her heavy heart, looking at Chen and Yushizuruo's thoughts. Yukiko, you've changed a lot. If you have time, we can chat. Fei Yingli smiled and said to Yukiko. Ah, what? Yukiko didn't listen to what concubine Eri said just now. Looking at Fei Yingli with a puzzled face. Because just now, Yukiko was worried about how Cheng would punish C2, so she didn't hear Fei Yingri help her forehead involuntarily, and Yukiko didn't listen to anything just now. I mean, if you have words, you can come and sit with me, we can chat, and also, don't you think it's a bit inconvenient to live in Chen's place, Yukiko? You can live with me if you want. Here, I have no opinion. Ah, let's forget it. I think I live well in Chen's side. Yukiko shook her head lightly. She thought it was good to live in Chen's side, and it was just because of Yukiko's present with Chen's relationship. Yukiko will of course not leave. Okay then. Fei Yingli gave Yukiko a meaningful look and felt that the relationship between Chen and Yukiko was not easy. Concubine Yingri is very clear, but some things are very clear. The relationship between Shangchen and Yukiko seems to be a bit close. After breakfast, Mawako left and she returned to the Metropolitan Police Department. Chen didn't leave, and Yuchizi wouldn't leave either, and stayed at Fei Yingli's house. Although Chen didn't leave, Chen had already sent out his shadow clone. It is estimated that the guy who sent the threatening letter will be found soon. I'll be here with you today, lest you be afraid. Di Shang Fei Yingli said. When Fei Yingli heard the words, she was not afraid. Chen, I'm actually a little worried that that person will attack Shaolin. Fei Yingli's eyebrows were filled with melancholy. She is not afraid of anything, but if the other side shoots at Shaolin, then concubine Yingri is worried. Yingri, you don't have to worry about what's going on with Shaolin. Chengdu said in a voice. Shaolin is safe, because Shaolin's body is the protection method left by Chen, even missiles can't hurt Shaolin. Although Chen said it, Fei Ying was unreasonable, so Fei Yingli is still a little worried. Chen did not persuade him anymore. Anyway, as long as the problem was solved, Fei Yingli would not be worried. Chen, Yingri and I have a little secret to talk to, can you avoid it? What little secret is still behind my back? Are you trying to speak ill of me? Chen stared at Yukiko suspiciously. Yuchizi glared at Chen without anger, and simply dragged Fei Yingri to her room and Chen shrugged. It is interesting to listen to it if you have to go there. Yukiko pulled Fei Yingri to continue with the previous question. I saw Yukiko staring at Fei Yingli and asked Fei Yingli, Yingri, is that kind of relationship between you and Chen? Then I secretly took a selfie of myself, down 0.2, obviously there is nothing, why are you nervous? 3 inches what's the relationship? Fei Yingri asked in a settled tone. Yuchizi had doubts in her heart, could it be that she was suspicious? I really have nothing to do with Fu Yingli. But Yukiko doesn't believe it. Yukiko knows how beautiful Fei Yingri is. Especially looking at Fei Yingri's charm now, Yukiko said that she is going to be fascinated by a woman. Can't stop the charm of concubine Yingli, and Chen, the big pervert, definitely has bad intentions towards Yingli in his heart. And Yukiko thought that Fei Yingli might be lying. Suguo couldn't see it, maybe her acting skills were too good. Yukiko blinked, and then said, what relationship did I say? Eri, you should be able to guess, so don't play stupid. Chapter 992. Already dead, Yukiko, I didn't expect you to inquire about so many things, how come you are becoming more and more 8 trigrams now? Oh my friend, you seem to have been so 8 trigrams all the time. Ryingli nodded suddenly and said, slandered me, when did I have 8 trigrams? Yukiko looked at Fei Yingri with dissatisfaction. If that's the case, then why are you asking these silly questions? If Chen and I are really related, it's a relationship of friends. Yukiko pouted and said, that guy seems to be after Shaolin. I'm actually friends with him, won't this relationship be messed up? Everything is different, is there any problem? Fei Yingli was very vague and didn't care much about it. By the way, actually Yukiko, I also have a question that I want to ask you back. Fei Yingli's eyes turned bright. Looking at Yukiko, Just ask if you have any questions. It doesn't matter if you have cheesy. Fei Yingli can ask whatever you want with a feeling of sourness that she couldn't even notice. Yuchizi has a treasure. There is no need to be on Chen's side. So Fei Yingri is also suspicious. The relationship between Yuchizi and Chen is not normal, not especially when I saw Yukiko and Chen communicate. This feeling became more and more profound. You must know that a woman's true feeling is very accurate. Ah, this. Yukiko didn't expect Fei Yingri to ask this. So she didn't know how to answer for a while. With a look of hesitation on her face. Are you telling the truth with Fei Yingri? If Hao Yingli knew that she had become Chen's daughter now, how would Fei Yingli think of Zishi 3? And before that, Fei Yingli was very optimistic about Chenhe Primary School. Let's break up. When Yukiko was tangled, Fei Yingli's eyes became sharper. In fact, Fei Yingli only had some doubts, but now Yukiko didn't answer, which made Fei Yingli even more suspicious. Fei Yingli's expression became serious. Ask said, Yuchizi, you shouldn't really have anything to do with Chen, right? Well, Chen and I are also friends. It's okay to spend the night at a friend's house. I'm bored at home alone. Yukiko blinked her eyes really, although she was lying, but Fei Yingri couldn't see that Yukiko was lying. Women are all good actors, especially Yukiko. She was originally a world-renowned star, so her acting skills are natural. It has reached its peak. So Fei Yingri looked at Yukiko. No matter how sharp her eyes were, she couldn't see what was going on. Although there is no trace of Yukiko lying, Fei Yingri doesn't really believe Yukiko's words. Ah, well, Yukiko looked at Fei Yingli and couldn't help being a little annoyed. Well, I'm used to living in Chen's house, I don't need it anymore. Now Yukiko will definitely not come to concubine Eri. If it was before, Yukiko may still think about it. However, at this time, concubine Yingri gave Yukiko a deep look, as if she had seen Yukiko through. Some people dare not have a haircut with Fei Ying, but Yukiko also knows that because of Fei Yingli's intelligence, she may have guessed something. 9 dong 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 tilde. Only she, Yukiko and Chen. It must be Chen who is knocking on the door now. So concubine Eri walked over and opened the door. Eri, do you know someone named Kuroda Hiko? Chen asked concubine Eri. Tien Lu. Fei Yingli frowned and fell into the memory of the child. The name is a bit familiar, but Fei Yingli, for a while, can't remember 2 inches. It doesn't matter if you can't remember it. That threatening letter is from this family. Chen said to Fei Yingli. Well, I remembered. He used to be the president of a company, right? Fei Yingli suddenly remembered that a lawsuit she had made a few years ago seemed to involve this guy. At that time, he was suspected of tax evasion. He was sent to prison by concubine Yingri, but it seems that he was sentenced to 3 years. Did he come out? 3 inches? Yes, he is really one of your enemies. He was originally sentenced to 3 years in prison. However, he was released early through bribery. Chen nodded and said, since you know, then call the police and arrest him. Lake threatens I can let him stay inside for a while longer. Fei Yingli's eyes have a sharp light. This is no longer needed. Chen shook his head towards Fei Yingli. Well, why? Fei Yingli asked Chen in confusion. Because he's already dead, Chen Tan said. What? Cho is already dead. Fu Yingli looked at Chen, with a little panic in her eyes. Yingli, you should have killed him by me. Chen looked at Fei Yingli and said involuntarily. Fei Yingli shook her head. Pai has been with her the whole time. Of course there is no time to kill people, but Fei Yingli guessed that perhaps Kuroda Yi's death had something to do with Chen. But this equals point Fei Yingli guessed wrong. Although Chen really wanted to kill that guy. It's a pity that he hasn't done it yet. That guy is already, the age of death does not mean that you are not in danger. There is 950 Kiko lightly relieved. Concubine Yingri didn't say anything, but looked at Chen worriedly. She was afraid that the death of Sanada Yan would involve Chen. Eri, this guy's death really has nothing to do with me. Am I such a cruel person? Chen spread his hands towards Fei Yingli. Chen also knew that Fei Yingli thought it was too coincidental, so he felt that Kuroda Yan's death was not related to him. He is related. Actually died. It seems that I will be in some trouble. Ba Fei Yingli sighed. By the way, how did he die? Suicide or homicide or accident. If he kills him, he will be the enemy he had offended before. If Chen wants to find out who killed him, it's actually very simple, but Chen is not interested in knowing. If he kills, it's really a little troublesome. Fei Yingli frowned slightly, but she wasn't too worried. Anyway, she didn't kill the person, and she didn't have time to commit the crime, because at this time she was always with Chen, Yuchizi and the others, but there was evidence, so she didn't know. A little trouble won't exist. Chen said to Fei Yingli that Chen asked Mei and Zi to stay in the house. This matter would not have anything to do with Fei Yingli, it had nothing to do with it anyway. Chapter 13, Bailey Chapter 13. After being so courageous, Fei Yingli was also called by the police to inquire about it. After all, the police have now found out that it was the threatening letter sent by the deceased to Fei Yingli. 3. Although there is no doubt about Fei Yingli. But Lu Chengji went down to the ground, and soon Fu Yingli will be back. It's time to worry about it now. Fei Yingli breathed a sigh of relief. Since the matter has been resolved, let's go first. Chen said to Fei Ying, would you like to accompany me? Fei Yingli looked at Yuchizi and asked Yuchizi. Master, let's wait for the next time. Yuchizi shook her head at concubine Yingli, which made Fu Yingli look at Yuchizi with a bit of resentment. As expected, no matter how good sisters are, after these 10 years of absence, their feelings are not as good as before. Chen drove the car and brought Yukiko return to the house, and Yukiko pulled the most back to the room. Belmod gave Yukiko a strange look, while Xiaoai snorted, thinking that the two of them entered the room, probably because they couldn't do it. The good things are over. It's not dark yet, so I can't wait. It's really a little sadness of a 2 pervert at this time, and I have already marked Chen with the stable sign of a 2 pervert. No, it's not the big pervert I'm playing now. The label, but the label has been put on it before. Anyway, Chen's image is not very good in the impression of Xiaoyi, and at this time, Hao Cheng joked with Yukiko. Yukiko, what are you doing with me in the room? It was you who wanted. Chen didn't say the next words, but looking at the wicked smile on his face, Yukiko could guess what Chen wanted to say. Yukiko's face turned Yuhi, and then she handed Chen a beautiful big Byakugan, and gave Chen a stern look, thinking all about these bad things. I asked you to come back, but not because Yushizi will be embarrassed to go on. Come to fist. I want to ask you, are you hiding something from me? Yukiko asked Chen seriously. Hiding you? What else do you need to hide from you? Chen shrugged, said to Yuchizi. Yuchizi suddenly became annoyed. She was really angry and felt that Chen didn't pay attention to her at all. It was obvious that she had a secret that she did not let her know. The key is that other and people seem to understand, which makes Yuchizi no longer bear it. Jealous and bitter tears slipped in the corners of her eyes. Hey, don't cry. I didn't expect you to cry, so I quickly wiped the tears. Okay, if you want to know what you want to know, just say it to Yukiko. Yukiko wiped her tears and secretly smiled. Then asked Chen, is what you said true? Yukiko gave a sneaky smile. I thought that Chen didn't find it, but it was actually discovered by Chen. Chen Lishi was speechless, as if he had been tricked by Yuchizi for 3 miles and looked down on it. Yuhua was once also the world-famous Damingly, and his acting skills were definitely very online. But Yukiko wants to ask some secret questions. Anyway, there is no need to hide it from Yukiko. She wants to know, just tell her. If you have any questions, hurry up. If this time passes, maybe I won't say anything. Chen said to Yuchizi. Yukiko was in a state of thinking. Most of the later Heimi didn't know what to ask. By the way, I heard Yuhiko tell you to save her ninjutsu. What kind of ninjutsu? Yukiko's eyes lit up, and then asked Chen, that's the kind of ninjutsu. Chen's hand looked at the one in Chen's hand. Spiral 9, Yukiko's mouth opened wide. This is... Yukiko felt that her worldview had collapsed. It can't be a special effect, right? Are you surprised by this? Puyi said, is this ninjutsu? Isn't it some special heavy ability? Yukiko curiously touched the snake ear. When Arikiko's hand department didn't touch the spiral, Chen immediately reached out his hand to stop Yukiko's movements. Yuchizi, How brave are you to actually touch this with your hands? Chen said speechlessly. If there is a Kiko who really touches it, then there is no need for a hand. Why, is it very dangerous? Yuchizi couldn't do it, but Chen stopped her, and there would definitely be a response. Of course you don't believe me. Chen used Rasengan, pressing towards the wall next to him. In an instant, a hole was pierced through a wall, and Yukiko swallowed, but fortunately she was stopped by Chen just now. Otherwise, I am afraid that my hand will not be able to save. Yukiko's heart was frightened for a while. It's so dangerous. Chen, is this ninjutsu? How could there be such a thing? Yukiko couldn't help asking complicatedly. Ju originally didn't exist, but I came into this world. It exists, Chenbei said seriously. However, Daoshizi was shocked by the spiral force at this time, and there was no words from Zichen. A hole was punched through the wall. This place is quiet, of course. It attracted Qi Guang of the girls. Seeing Ermad and the others seeing this big hole, it is not too strange. However, Kuroha Chikage is the same as Yukiko. After all, Kuroha Chikage didn't understand it before, and now I see it here. A hole was opened, and I thought it was blown out by a bomb. To make such a big noise at home, it's too messy. Mayano Akemi couldn't help saying. A big hole was punched in a good wall. How unsightly. I will fix it. Chen stretched out his hand and wiped it, and the big hole that was originally Feng disappeared. Just like the undamaged one. Chikage and Yukiko, Jili and Belmod couldn't help but be shocked. This is already God's means, Zhao Li's. I suspect this is magic, but there is no evidence. Kuroha Chikage touched the wall. It's not a trick like magic. And I don't know magic at all, and I'm not interested in learning any magic. Chen Tantansho said lightly. 3, can you give it to me? Yuchizi looked at Chen expectantly. At that time, Yuchizi didn't care. How could Chen be like this? Jigen himself also learned to use the most powerful words to kill a child, and Kuroha Chikage also raised his head and looked at Chen, obviously also wanting to learn. No problem, but if you are too stupid, then I can't teach you. Chen Xian said before shaking hands. You're stupid, but I'm smart. Yuchizi said to Chen with great dissatisfaction. She thought she was the most transparent. There is no way for her to become a world-renowned big star. Yukiko, Kuroha Chikage and the others are not easy to know. Chapter 994. The new transfer student was attracted by Chen's ninjutsu. Yukiko didn't ask any other questions, but pestered Chen to teach him ninjutsu. 3 But Chen, citing trouble, pushed Yukiko and Kuroha Chikage to Belmod. And Belmod seems to be very interested in reading a book, and did not reject them. In other words, it's time to go to school. Early the next morning, Tatsu and Yuhiko went to school together. And Yuhiko looked at Chen strangely. Don't look at me like this all the time, okay? Do you think I'm weird? Yuhiko nodded. Yes, it's weird. I guess other people in the school will find it weird. Of course, when they arrived at the school, those students felt a bit of a moron after seeing Chen, and they didn't even know Chen anymore. Early in the morning, Shaolin and Yuanzi, who had already arrived at the school, looked at Chen's moonlight with some surprise in their eyes. Shitanchen's eyes were also a little surprised. There was a transfer student in the class, and this transfer student Chen also knew. It was Yuan Shan and Yi. Why are you here, Yi? Chen asked Yi. Why can't I be here? I'm now a transfer student at Emperor 570 Dan High School _ Yi Shangchen snorted and said. He transferred here because he was an apprentice and didn't plan to go back for a short time. And it's not just a transfer student, he said, pointing to where Kudo Shinichi was not far away. I saw that the original empty place was now full of textbooks. Ah, it seems that there are still a lot of transfer students. But why didn't you tell me, Yuhiko? Chen's eyes turned to Yuhiko next to him. Shun, tell you what to do? Chen asked. It doesn't seem like a big deal. One of the transfer students is you, then the other transfer student. Could it be Hattori Heiji? Chen asked guessingly. How did you know? Could it be that Yuhiko told you before? Sonoko looked at little Izumi Yuhiko suspiciously. I didn't tell him. It's all his guesses. Little Izumi Yuhiko shook her head. She didn't tell Chen, it should have been guessed by Chen. But how Chen guessed, this little Izumi Yuhiko is not clear. Sure enough, it's exactly what I guessed, see deck ___. Later Tan said with a smile. This new transfer student is really Hattori Heiji. It makes Chen a little surprised. Hattori Heiji didn't leave either. Why did he stay here? And he was transferred to his class. There should be no two purposes, one of which should be because of him. Hattori Heiji's character should not give up the investigation, investigating him only for another purpose, perhaps because of Toyama and Yi. After all, Yuan-chan and Yi stayed here. Then Hattori Heiji probably won't leave. Soon after, Hattori Heiji entered the class. After entering, he first looked around. After seeing Chen, it also made Chen Kyubao Hattori Heiji transfer to here, and there are also some reasons. Toyama and Yi glanced at Hattori Heiji, then turned their heads and whispered to Sonoko. By the way, Chen, I forgot to tell you. Today is the test of the fundamentals. Little Izumi Yuhiko looked at Chen with a smile on her face. So Chen, don't test too low, or you'll be embarrassed. Chen looked at Ju Izumi Yuhiko and said with a slight smile, let's go. As long as you don't pass the test, I'll be fine. Guan sure enough, the thorough examination was really carried out, but Chen was not afraid. Anyway, there was a means of cheating. Huh, it's really boring. Chen lay down on the table after finishing the test paper. Chen, Joey has no time. We are going to climb the mountain, let's go with us. Yuanzi turned his head. Shang Chen whispered this time. Teacher invigilating. It was also found that Chen and Yuanzi were talking in a low voice, but the invigilator did not care, but chose to turn a blind eye. No way, Kadeden High School is actually a semi-aristocratic school, but there are many students with deep backgrounds who can offend the teachers. For example, Yuanzi. She is the second lady of the Suzuki Consortium, even Guo Shengshihong. There are few identities comparable to H. Yuanzi. And Chen is not easy to handle. This is the person the principal has greeted, and told them not to worry about it, so he just opened one eye equals one eye. As long as it doesn't affect other people's exams, everything is easy to say. Let's go to the mountain at this time. It's such a hot day. Reduce the road to find the guilt. Chen looked at Yuanzi and said, oh, because it won't be hot in the afternoon, why don't we go together? Say Yuanzi blinked his eyes at Chen. Chuan, why do you have to let Wakchi go? Chen Tan spread his hands and asked Yuanzi. Anyway, Shaolin and Yi are going back. If you don't go, forget it. Sonoko pouted and said, since so many beautiful women are going, then of course I'm going too. Now you do the questions first. Are you finished? Chen asked Yuanzi. If you don't do it, you won't do it anyway. Yuanzi Tantansho. Unlike Shaolin, Yuhizi and the others, Yuanzi is a scumbag. For these questions, it is they who know him. She doesn't know them. It took a morning for the thorough examination. It's finally over. Come on, I'll treat you to a meal. Yuanzi stood up, holding Chen in both hands, as if afraid that Chen would run away. Yuanzi, I plan to go home. Shaolin said to Yuanzi. Maori Kogoro is still at home by herself. If she doesn't go back, what will Maori Kogoro eat? Don't go back and cook for that uncle, he can eat it himself. Sonoko said to Shaolin that Kogoro is not a child. Under Sonoko's persuasion, Shaolin nodded, but she called back and told Kogoro Mori not to go back for dinner. Although he complained, he didn't say anything else. Then Sonoko pulled Chen, Shaolin, Yuhiko, and Yi to open the school together. Hattori looked at Yuenshin and Yi's back and frowned slightly. Yi and Hyuga Chen are walking more and more, so Hattori Heiji has this feeling. Just like before, Konan was worried about Yukiko and Chen's departure. Now Hattori Heiji is also very distant and Yi is actually Konan before. His worry is also right. Look at now, isn't Yukiko being eaten by Chen? And if Yuenshin and Yi have been in contact with Chen for a long time, they may also be eaten and wiped. Hattori Heiji thought about it, and then followed towards Chen and the others. Hattori Heiji didn't let go and Yi he pissed together. In fact, to be more precise, Hattori Heiji was jealous. He and his Wu clan were getting worse and worse. He didn't even say a word, and the relationship with Hyuga Chen was getting better and better. Of course Hattori Heiji was jealous. 9th, 195 chapters. Yo, what a coincidence, a newly opened sushi restaurant. Chen and the others walked in. I've eaten the sushi here once, and it tastes very good, Sonoko said to Chen and the others. Shortly after Chen and the others entered, they followed Chen and his Hattori Heian to enter here. And Guang looked around and didn't see Chen and them. Because Chen and the others entered the private room, of course Hattori Heiji couldn't see the industry. Hello, where are the few people who came in before? Hattori Heiji stopped a waiter and asked the waiter. The waiter looked at Hattori Heiji. He asked Hattori, are you their friend? Yes, I'm their friend. Hattori Heiji nodded, but let alone friends, it is estimated that the enemy is almost the same. Now Hattori Heiji and Hyuga Chen are also considered. It's a man tilde. 3 inches. I'll take you there with no satsu. This service said to Hattori Heiji. Ah, no need for that, take me to the private room next to them. Hattori Heiji immediately shook his head, he definitely couldn't go in the past. When you get there, you will definitely not be welcomed, and you will even be hated by Toyama and Yi. After all, it is always bad to follow others, especially now that the relationship between Hattori Heiji and Toyama and Yi is so bad. The waiter Kilu glanced at Hattori Heiji, and he didn't say anything, and brought Hattori Heiji to the box next to him. After Heiji Hattori asked the waiter to go out, he leaned against the wall and wanted to hear something. Unfortunately, the decoration here is very good. With good sound insulation material, nothing can be heard. Damn, Hattori Heiji couldn't help raising his hand and knocked hard on the wall. Hattori Heiji thought he was following it very secretly, but in fact he was discovered by Tatsuki long ago. With Chen's strength, Ergo couldn't find a follower of an ordinary person. Wouldn't that be too wasteful? Hitohei said he has followed us here. Chen said with a smile. Sonoko and the others were stunned, especially Hii frowned. Heiji Hattori also talked to her these days, wanting to let Hii go back, but because of the conflict with Heiji Hattori, he didn't want to listen to what Heiji Hattori had to say. Also, she is not a child, she doesn't need others to interfere with her choices, and Yi Yuan didn't want to see Hattori Heiji, so she transferred to Teden High School, but she didn't expect Hattori Heiji to transfer here too. He came here. Did he follow us? He felt very uncomfortable. Heiji Hattori followed us when we came out of school, Chen said. Heiji Hattori would only stare at them when Chen and the others hadn't walked out of the school gate. Maybe Heiji Hattori felt that he was hiding very well. Shang Chen could feel, it's abominable, so he's actually following us. Where is he now? Sonoko asked angrily. Chen smiled slightly, then raised his hand and pointed at the wall in front of him. Facing the wall, is Hattori Heiji still hiding in the wall? Sonoko said involuntarily. Sonoko, you are such an idiot. I'm persuading Heiji. Now it's on the opposite side of this wall, that is, right next to us. That box. Chen couldn't help knocking Yuanzi on the head. 3. When did Yuanzi become so stupid? Yuanzi stuck out his tongue and said to Chen, I know, I was just joking. Ha tilde. I don't believe it. Obviously I still think Sonoko is stupid, so Sonoko pouted his mouth in anger. That guy Hattori Heiji is so disgusting, I really want to teach him a lesson. Sonoko clenched a small fist, thinking about whether to find someone to teach Hattori Heiji a lesson. By the way, we didn't make an appointment last time. Let's go to the mountain on the weekend, and Chen will also go with us. Yuanzi said to Shaolin and the others, really? Oh, Shaolin's face is full of excitement. Shaolin and the others wanted to invite Chen, but they were afraid that Chen would not come, but Chen really agreed. Of course he will, because there are beautiful women. Yuhizi glanced at Chen deeply. Chen's satyr image has been fixed in Yuhizi's heart. By the way, Yuhizi, do you want to go? He asked Yuhizi. Yuhizi shook his head lightly. She still has some things to do, such as studying magic. Although now she has learned the ninjutsu taught by Chen, Yuhi is still interested in family magic. That's a pity, and Yi's heart is a little disappointed. After eating quickly, the sushi here is the same as Sonoko said, and it is really good. I am very happy to eat. However, in comparison, Hattori Heiji in the other box was not so happy. No matter how delicious he was, he couldn't eat it. Together with Yi and Ji Yu Shangshan. It won't be taken advantage of. One Hattori Heiji is very worried about this. I hope Hyuga-chen, you don't want to fight with Yi, otherwise I will make you look good. Hattori Heiji raised his fist angrily. If Chen is in front of Hattori Heiji now, Hattori Heiji may not be able to control himself and go up to give Chen a punch. But even if Tatsuya really appears in front of Hattori Heiji is not Tatsuya's opponent, far from his opponent, and it is only himself who will be taught a lesson at that time. Stayed for an hour. Hattori Heiji didn't eat anything and went out directly, but after going out, he happened to meet Chen and the others. As soon as Hattori Heiji came out, he saw Chen and the others. And Hyuga smiled at Hattori Heiji. Yo, what a coincidence. Hyuga-chen greeted Hattori Heiji, making Hattori Heiji's face gloomy. After seeing Hyuga-chen, Hattori Heiji felt unhappy, and a surge of anger rose in his heart. Especially after seeing Toyama and Yi standing beside Hyuga Tatsu, Hattori Heiji's anger continued to flow in his heart. According to Hattori Heiji's own understanding, Hyuga-chen seems to be getting closer and closer to Miaoyi, which makes Hattori Heiji feel a sense of crisis in his heart. Hattori Heiji is seriously suspicious, and Hyuga-chen, who doesn't care, has bad thoughts about Kazuya, so he persuades Kazuya to go back. But Kazuya didn't listen to Hattori Heiji at all, and even Heiji Hattori was too noisy. You must know that in the past, and Yi basically seldom quarreled with him, but after getting to know Hyuga-chen, now he is like a stranger to him, which of course made Hattori Heiji feel uncomfortable. Hattori Heiji attributed all of this to Hyuga exhibition, thinking that it was because of Hyuga-chen that the conflict between him and Yi became more and more serious. However, Hattori Heiji did not reflect on himself. You must know that Heii's dissatisfaction with Hattori Heiji has been accumulated for a long time. Chapter 196. How rich is the Suzuki family? Hato Heiji, did you come with us? Sonoko looked at Hattori Heiji and asked politely. Nonsense, I just came here to eat, I just didn't expect to meet you. Hattori Heiji said angrily, with Hattori Heiji's face-loving character. I definitely won't admit it, I came here with Chen and the others. That's why I said, it's a coincidence, do you want to go back together? Chen faintly smiled and asked Heiji Hattori. Chen, I don't want to go back with him. Yuanzi shook his head and said. HMPH, no need. Hattori Heiji snorted coldly and then left alone. Zichen smiled when he saw Hattori Heiji who was rushing to leave. He knew that this would be the result. Even if Chen really invited him, he would leave alone for the sake of face. May 4th, 3 students. We will also go to school. If we are late, we will be late. Xiaolan looked at the time and said anxiously. As a good student, Xiaolan obviously does not want to be late. So they went back to school. Tomorrow is the weekend, don't forget Chen. Let's go to Xiaolan's house first. At the end of school. Sonoko reminded Chen. Don't worry, I won't forget it. Chen waved at Sonoko, and then returned home with Yuhiko. Early the next morning, Gon got up. After eating some snacks, Wen took Xiaoai to Xiaolan's house. As for why she brought Xiaoai, this is of course Xiaoai's initiative. To be honest, Xiaoai is real few take the initiative to go out. Since this time Xiaoai wants to take the initiative to come out to play, of course Chen will bring Xiaoai. Xiaoai is too tired to do research at home. Take Xiaoai out to play, relax properly, get in the mood, okay. When I came to the primary school's home, Yuanzi had not come yet, and Hee was still temporarily living in Xiaolan's home. Originally, Hee was going out to rent a house. However, under the persuasion of the elementary school, he still lived in Xiaolan's house. Conan doesn't live in Xiaolan's house anymore. Since the last time, Conan has been living in Dr. Akasa's house in Hattori Heiji. He also lives in Dr. Ali's house, and I don't know how he persuaded his parents to stay here. Hattori Haizang is also reassured. In the tropical paradise attack, Hattori Heiji was injured by a sub-gun, and now he dares to let Hattori Heiji stay here. Xiao Ai is here too, come in quickly. Xiao Lan's eyes lit up when she saw Xiao Ai, and then let Chen and Xiao Yuan come in. After your father came in, he didn't find Kogoro Mori, so he said to Xiao Ranjian, Dad has a job, so I'm busy now. Xiao Lan said to Chen, since the last time he was cheated, Maori Kogoro, who owed a huge sum of money, has worked hard now. It's so early. We must have just finished breakfast. By the way, did you have breakfast? He was brushing the smell in the kitchen. Because he was a little embarrassed because he lived here, Wang Shi took the initiative to take the responsibility of washing the dishes. I can wash dishes. Chen looked at He in amazement. He suddenly became angry. No matter how stupid she was, she couldn't possibly not wash the dishes. Do you really think of her as a fool? He stepped towards Chen in embarrassment. With a glance, he stared at Chen angrily. Just kidding with you. Don't be angry, Chen said to He, and after a while, Yuanzi finally arrived at Xiaolan's house. It seems that I am the slowest. Sonoko couldn't help but say, you must be sleeping. Chen looked at Yuanzi and said, and Tongzi Yi got Yi Xiaotong's tongue. Chen's guess was right, Yuanzi really slept in. I usually get up too early for school, but now I'm resting, so I don't remember it so early. Yuanzi is quite said embarrassedly. Then Chen and the others followed Yuanzi and came to the foot of a mountain, but Chen had never heard of this mountain. What kind of mountain is this? Chen asked Yuanzi. He checked the map and found nothing marked. I don't know what kind of mountain this is. Sonoko shook his head. The garden, you brought us here. Although the scenery here is good, you can tell at a glance that it is a place where few people come. You won't encounter wild beasts, right? He was a little worried if he encountered a wild beast. This is very dangerous. Don't worry about this and Yi. There are absolutely no beasts here, because my home is at the foot of this mountain, and there is a villa. Although I rarely come here, the large beasts here have been cleaned up. He patted his heart and said A3. Now everyone is speechless. Including Chen was speechless. How rich is this Dongmu family? They are all villas outside. Your Suzuki family is so rich, you have the spare money to build a villa in this kind of mountain. Chen couldn't help but say. You must know that the cost of building a villa in such a place will increase several times. Sonoko smiled. To be honest, how much money does the Suzumoto consortium have? She doesn't know that either. As for the Suzuki Shizuo group, although the Suzuki family is not 100% controlled, most of the shares are owned by the master of the Suzuki family. 9 inches, but that's okay, at least there's no need for camping. Chen looked at the not far away said the villa. Also, although I want to go out to play, I don't like camping in the wild, I always feel unsafe. He said. Yeah, you are so beautiful, you have to guard against the color wolf. Chen nodded and said. He glanced at Chen in surprise, and his heart was sweet, but he really didn't expect Chen to praise her for her beauty. Bo Chen praised the dish, Shuan, which is very rare. I remember that before, Chen Duo liked to be very angry with her Rang and Yi. It's to guard against Chuangdu. There seems to be a satyr here. Fai raised his head and glanced at Chen. Where is the satyr? Chen pretended to be confused. She secretly looked at Xiao Ai fiercely, and actually said he was a pervert. It seems that I want to give Xiao Ai some color to see Ju1, You know it yourself. Xiao Ai turned her head away. Yuanzi, he covered his mouth, looking at Chen couldn't help laughing and Wei Chen's face, couldn't help but her high. For the sake of being a girl. Don't compare with them. Chen and the others lived in each sub's villa, which had all kinds of things in it. And also very clean. It was obvious that someone had cleaned it. It seems that some of the things I brought are all in Lucaria. Xiaolan said, looking at her backpack. It seems to be useless now. This villa has everything in it, and there is no need for those things at all. 2. Yuanzi, you didn't say a word before. If you say, then I won't bring these things, it's still so heavy. Xiaolan said to Yuanzi. Garden cotyledon leaves have large ligules. Somewhat embarrassed. Underscore. 9th, 197 chapters. Conan's suspicion of Hattori Heiji. Hey, I persuade the ministry, why are you bringing me to this place? Conan rolled his dead fish eyes and looked at Hattori Heiji. I finally had a vacation. Originally, Conan wanted to have a good rest at home, but he was dragged here by Hattori Heiji. This is not the most incompetent. The key lies in the front of Conan, and there is a little ghost. They are of course the trio of the juvenile detective team. Originally, Yuanta, Mitsuhiko and Ayumi went to find Conan to play, of course. The main thing is that I want to play the games developed by Liboshi. Since I met Yuantai and the three of them, Liboshi often develops some small games for them to play. 3 Akasa Hiroshi seems to be very versatile, and can even make games. The key is this, Liboshi is not famous, at least not at the upper level. Perhaps this has something to do with the small things he researched. Really powerful things, such as those equipped with 23 equipment for Conan, it is estimated that Agasa Botu will never take it out easily. Although not very famous, but Libotu is definitely a top-level scientist, the kind that most people can't match. The black technology produced can be compared with the APTX 4__869 researched by Xiaoai. He is a very aggressive person. This time, Ali Shuishi didn't come out, even though he was a group of little children. However, because Conan was there, and there was a Hattori Heiji, Akasa Hirogomori was relieved. Conan looked at Hattori Heiji puzzled. Hattori Heiji should not come here for no reason. Kudo, would you believe me if I said Shaolin was also here? Hattori Heiji lowered his head and said to Conan. Xiao Ran is here too. Conan was stunned when he heard Hattori Heiji's words. Then Miao thought that the current Hattori Heiji was in the same class as Shaolin. If Shaolin was here, he would not be surprised. Suddenly, Conan's heart became vigilant, and Kwang stared at Hattori Hei and asked vigilantly, Hey, Hattori Heiyu, what's your purpose? Do you have any way to look at Shaolin? Conan's eyes were filled with hostility. If Hattori Heiji dares to have any thoughts on Shaolin, it is definitely Conan's biggest enemy. Hattori Heiji glanced at Conan and wanted Yi Shui. What did he think of Shaolin? Kudo Shin definitely thinks too much. Hattori came here not because of Shaolin, but because of Kazuya. When he was in school, Hattori Heiji deliberately heard that Chen and the others were going to climb the mountain, and they lost a lot of effort. Only then did I know that I came to this valley last hill _Shinyi Hattori Heiji pulled Conan and prepared to come here to see it, mainly because Hyuga Chen followed with Yi, and Hattori Heiji was very insistent. And Hattori Heiji estimated that Kudo Shin equals would also be worried about Shaolin, so he kindly pulled him up too. Now Kudo Shinichi still doubts him. Hattori Heiji was a little angry that he knew this, so he came by himself. Without Kudo Shin equals. And after bringing the low, there are a few small tales behind him. Hattori Heiji was also very upset because he had to take care of Yuanta and the others. Mtan looked at Yuanta and the others. Hattori Heiji shook his head. It was really troublesome. These little devils. If you have to come along, he is not here for fun. You can mix with them. It's really hard for you. Hattori Heiji glanced at Genta and the others in front, then glanced at Conan, and said to Kamian. Conan sighed helplessly, but that's not the case. By the way, you haven't answered my words yet. Do you want to change the subject? Conan's suspicious eyes are fixed on Hattori Heiji, and he seriously suspects that Hattori Heiji is changing the subject. PFF'd, Hattori Heiji really wanted Yi blood. Feeling that Kudo Shinichi is still suspicious of him now. Let me tell you, I am interested in your little Ran at all, but some people are interested. If you don't want to follow, you can leave, but you can do it if you don't regret it later. Hattori Heiji was also angry, looking at the Conan play with arms crossed. If Conan really leaves, Hattori Heiji feels that after he knows the truth, he will definitely regret it. Conan looked at Hattori Heiji suspiciously. Of course he would not leave, since Hattori Heiji said Shaolin was here. It's been a long time since I saw Shaolin. Conan now lives in the house of Hiroshi Akasa, so of course he rarely sees Shaolin now. Even the good milk didn't even see Ni. Gumu believes you fight. Conan came back to his senses at this time. It seemed that Yuenshin and Yi were also with Shaolin, and Hattori Heiji should have come because of Yuenshin and Yi. Tell you, besides Shaolin, there is another man here. Hattori Heiji squinted at Conan and said. Conan couldn't help it. He jumped up immediately, and there was actually a man. Who is that man? Conan bit Kiba and asked, can't you guess it? If you really can't guess it, it's not too much for me to underestimate. Hattori drank Conan say first. Hattori Heiji said so. If Conan can't guess by now, he's not worthy of being a detective. Is that person Hyuga Chen? Conan bit Kiba, gnashing his teeth. Although it was a question, it was already confirmed. Shaolin doesn't seem to get close to anyone other than Hyuga Chen. The only person who threatened him and was hated by Conan was Hyuga Chen's. That's right. You're right at all, it's Hyuga Chen. If you're not careful, Shaolin will be taken away. Heiji of the costume department showed a smile on his face as he spoke, and looked at Conan. Conan glanced at Hattori Heiji with a dark face, and said angrily, don't be complacent, don't forget Toyama and Yi, who are with Shaolin now. This also means that Toyama and Yi are with Hyuga. Chen is in one piece. Hyuga Chen, this bastard, may bite Yuenshin and Yi. Conan said to Hattori Heiji. This time it was Hattori Heiji's face darkened. To be honest, what Conan said was exactly what Hattori Heiji was worried about. Otherwise, Hattori Heiji wouldn't have come here. Kazuo is not that kind of person, she won't be confused by that guy Hyuga Chen. Hattori Heiji said firmly. However, in his heart, Hattori Heiji was not so confident. After all, he was not happy with Hyuga Chen, but one thing was undeniable, and that was Hyuga Chen's good looks. This kid is so handsome. As for women, most of them are good-looking, although Hattori Heiji thinks that Yuenshi and Yi will not be so superficial, but he still has some worries in his heart. The two of us should not laugh at each other. Hattori Heiji looked at Conan and said, as if neither of them were qualified to laugh at each other. Chapter 998. Genta, you're pig ma to Hattori Heiji and Conan's big eyes and dark eyes, indeed they are useless to each other here. The two of them are now the common enemy is Hyuga Chen. What's the point of fighting each other here 2 inches Conan, you are so slow and you are left behind. Looking back, shout out to Conan. The play, here it is. Conan glanced at Mitsuhiko and the others, and this was the only way to fight each other. After running so far, Conan immediately chased after him, but they couldn't let them open their sights too far. Conan, who has learned a lot, understands that if they get too far out of their sight, they're bound to make something happen. These guys are quite restless. They are in the wild now. If they encounter danger, they will be in trouble. Especially in this place, the signal is definitely not very good, and it will be troublesome to pick the ground at that time. I don't know if there will be ferocious wilds here, if there are ferocious beasts. That's really dangerous. I don't understand why this guy Hyuga Chen came here to climb the mountain. He also brought Shaolan. If Shaolan was in danger, Conan said that he would never let this guy Hyuga Chen go. But what Conan didn't know was that it wasn't that Hyugaji brought Shaolin and the others, but that Shaolin didn't invite Hyuga Chen to come. If Conan knew, maybe you will feel very jealous. After all, Conan is a guy who likes to wake up very much. If you encounter a beast, wait to feed the beast. Conan shrimp give them a good look. But if they're scared, it's not a boy to die. Humph, even if the bear comes, I can knock it down with one punch. Mrs. Yuan said shamelessly. Conan is very speechless. You really know how to talk too much. If Shangguo is able, I guess equals Slap and Palm can be afraid of you. Follow them quickly, lest they have an accident. Conan told Hattori Heiji to stay at home and don't make a fuss about coming here. Hattori Heiji was quite dissatisfied with Yuantai and the others, but the dissatisfaction was useless, so he brought Yuantai and the others out. It's mainly because these guys are too fussy and can't do anything, so I can only take them out, but Heiji is bored looking around, and he doesn't know where Hyuga Chen and the others are. Hey, look at the side, there is a luxurious villa. Bu Guo said to himself in surprise. This is the sound of the mountains and there is indeed a villa. And it is still a very luxurious villa. Who is so rich who actually built a villa here? I guess there is nowhere to spend the money, Hattori Heiji couldn't help saying. Building a villa in this place, Hattori really doesn't have an explanation other than the money has nowhere to spend. Conan's shouting fish, this should not be the main villa of the Suzuki family. Thinking of the mountain villa of the Suzuki family that he had been to before, Shunmu felt that this might be very big. 3 If I guessed right, Hyuga-chan should be there, then Shaolin should be there too. I don't know if Hyuga-chan will do to Shaolin. Conan is very worried now, and I can't wait to go and see it now. What Conan can guess, Hattori Heiji can naturally guess. They looked at each other and decided to go to the villa. Let's take a loan and see if it's okay, Bumei suggested. Okay, let's go and have a look. It would be nice if we could visit. Mitsuhiko decided. If Mitsuhiko made such a decision in the usual way, Conan would definitely stop it, because it is not good to disturb others. But now, of course, Conan won't be flat as much. Conan's goal is Hyuga-chen. In order to prevent Hyuga-chen from doing something that people and gods are angry with, Conan must go to see Mu-shing. The two walked towards the villa, which looked close to Zheishang, but was farther away. Why is it still so far? I'm so tired, I don't want to go. Yuan-tai sat on the ground and didn't want to get up at all. Yuan-tai's body was fat and it was extremely difficult to walk, so I felt a little tired. I can't walk anymore. Ms. Yuan, get up quickly, you can see that Ayumi is not tired, you are not even a girl. Conan said to Kojima Motoda, no way, I really can't walk anymore. Kojima Motoda sat there, and he didn't want to live or die. 3 inches Conan, you actually look down on girls, it's too bad. Ayumi stared at Conan dissatisfied. What to say Yuanta? The first girl is not as good as her, because she despised her Schwerin. Ayumi's perception of Conan in an instant. Conan smirked and wanted to explain, but he didn't know how to say it, but Conan understood a truth, never offend girls, and don't reason with girls, because it doesn't make sense at all. Quote. Why don't you carry Yuan-tai on your back? Conan looked up at Hattori Heiji. If you say that you are carrying Yuan-tai, then only Hattori Heiji can do it here. Hattori Heiji's mouth twitched, carrying Yuan-tai on his back to crush him to death. Don't look at Yuan-tai's young age, but his weight is so frightening that he weighs 100 pounds. For this weight, if Hattori Heiji had to carry it on his back, it would be very difficult indeed. Hado, do you still want to get to the villa soon? Conan approached Hattori Heiji and asked in a low voice to Hattori Heiji. Once Hattori Heiji bites Kiba, let's do it on his back. It's too bad, it's just a little tired, and I can bear it. However, after Maji's back as Kojima Motoda, Hattori Heiji's face suddenly changed. Yuhi's face turned ugly, very ugly. Ms. Yuan, you're watching Mom. 9 inches Hattori couldn't help but said. Yamamoto couldn't help being angry when he heard Hattori Heiji dared to attack himself. He was the one who hated others talking about him the most. So Genta raised his fist. He gave Hattori a fist. Hattori Heiji, who was carrying it, was almost out of breath. This guy's strength is really too much. Believe it or not, I'll throw you down. Hattori Heiji couldn't help biting Kiba. 3 Shimoshima snorted coldly, and then honestly, he really didn't want to leave by himself. Hattori Heiji's face was dark, and Hattori Heiji guessed that Kojima Yuanren was not strong enough. After all, the fist of the poor Kai just now was strong enough. Never mind. Hattori Heiji also didn't want to compare himself to a child. To compare himself with a child appears to be very rude. Carrying Kojima Motoda on his back, Hattori Heiji moved forward with difficulty. Fortunately, Hattori Heiji's physique is very good. Because of regular exercise, although carrying Kojima Motoda on his back is very tiring, he will not be overwhelmed. This autumn is heavy, I don't know how to lose weight, and I eat so much every time. Hattori Heiji bought it with Kojima Yuan in his heart. Chapter 999. Many coincidences. It's finally here, and I almost died of exhaustion. Hattori fell to the ground, and looked at Kojima Ruta unhappily. but Kojima Motoda was really comfortable, and she didn't need to walk. Came here. I will never carry you behind my back when I leave. Hattori Asi said to Kojima Motoda. The play has a lesson this time. Hattori Heiji said that even if he was killed, he would never carry Kojima Motoda behind his back. It was like carrying a mountain on his back, almost exhausting him. HMPH, I don't need you to carry it. Kojima Motoda snorted at Hattori Heiji. Even though he was carried by Hattori Heiji on his back, he still groaned at Hattori Heiji. This is really a bit if it wasn't for Hattori Heiji who didn't want to be with Kojima Motoda. Like knowledge and had to beat him. Should we knock on the door? Ayumi asked while looking at the others. I don't know if the owner of this villa will let us in. Ayumi also had a layer of worry in her heart. If they refuse to enter, what should I do? Ayumi's worries are really 977 possible _. What if that guy from Hyuga Kishi doesn't let them in? What if Kudo is in the office? What if Hyuga Tishin doesn't let us in on purpose? Hattori Heiji said towards Konan Yusen. I can't do this right now. If we don't let us in, we can't force our way in. Konan said helplessly. Suddenly Konan's eyes lit up. Shaolin, if it was Shaolin, they would definitely let them in. He went in because he knew that Shaolin was the most tender-hearted girl. I have a solution, let's call the door first. Konan said to Hattori Heiji. 3 feet hey, what are you two whispering about together? Mitsuhiko came over and asked. However, after seeing the light cane coming, Konan and Hattori Heiji had a tacit understanding and stopped the exchange directly. No, we didn't talk about anything. Konan said to Mitsuhiko. Mysterious, I always feel that you two have some secrets. Gwangi looked at Konan and Hattori Heiji with scrutiny. One day, the secrets of the two of them must be dug up, otherwise Mitsuhiko felt itchy. Konan and Leonbi Heiji looked at each other, their eyes on Mitsuhiko. I don't care at all. Gwangi may be a little clever, but they haven't noticed it yet. Ayumi, go knock on the door. Konan said to Ayumi. Ixen because Ayumi and Hyuga Chen's relationship seems to be good, for Ayumi's face, maybe they will go in. Konan's heart is this Chenny and he doesn't think much about Ayumi. I went to Taiwan, and then rang the doorbell in the Osoa villa. Yuanzi heard the doorbell, not only a little strange, who is coming back here? San, go out and take care of it, maybe like us, he came from this dusty mountain. Xiao Lan said. Gee, Xiao Lan, do you think other people will come here besides us? Mom, and Yi couldn't help but Yi Sao said. It is estimated that they are the only ones who come here to climb the mountain. Let's go and have a look. Maybe I know, Hyuga Chen said with a slight smile. Looking at the smile on Hyuga Chen's face. Xiao Ai glanced at Hyuga Chen and saw the smile on Chen's face. Ying seemed to know who the person outside was. In fact, it did. Chen really knew who the people outside, Heiji, Hattori and Konan. I didn't expect them to come here. Hyuga Chen really doesn't believe in any coincidence, so they came here for a special purpose. Tatsuchi, if you think about it, you can know what they have. It's just because of Yuenshin, Yi and Shaolin. Otherwise, Chen really can't think of what they have here. Shaolin went out and saw the people outside the door. There was a hint of surprise on Shaolin's face. Sister Shaolanwan. Ayumi was like Shaolin, and Shigang looked at Shaolin in surprise, but it was Sister Shaolin who didn't meet her. Shaolin's sister, why are you here? Ayumi asked a puzzled question, while Ayumi was a little happy. Ayumi, Konan, and Hattori Heiji 9 inches. Shaolin's face was a little surprised, and when she saw Hattori Heiji, she frowned. Wrinkling slightly, Hattori Heiji also came here. Shaolin knew that Kazuo didn't want to see Hattori Heiji now. Sister Shaolin, we are here to play, can we go in? Konan asked Shaolin. Lan asked, come in. Shaolan didn't refuse, and then opened the door. In Konan's heart, it was Shaolan who came out. Fortunately, they were able to enter so smoothly. If it was Hyuga Chen, I'm afraid they really entered. No, a group of people walked in. After entering the villa, Sonoko frowned when he saw them. Why are you here? Sonoko asked Hattori Heiji. Sonoko asked Hattori Heiji in such a questioning voice. He frowned. Then it was about to break out. But Conan hurriedly pulled Hattori Heiji. According to Conan's understanding, if Hattori Heiji and Sonoko got into trouble, Sonoko would definitely drive out. XIP, Sonoko is true, we came to this place to climb the mountain, and we didn't expect there is a villa here. What a coincidence. Yes, there are so many coincidences. Chen glanced at Hattori and Conan lightly, let them not know what to say. Xiao Ai, you are here too, it's great. Ayumi ran back to Xiao Ai with joy in her eyes. Zero was originally going to find Xiao Ai. Chen's family came but learned that Xiao Ai was not at home at all, so she came here in no time. Yeah, Xiao Ai nodded lightly. Conan only saw Xiao Ai at this time, but Hyuga Chen was here, and it was not surprising that Xiao Ai, who lived with Hyuga Chen, was here. Conan has some vigilance towards Xiao Ai now. Having known Xiao Ai for so long, Shunan can of course sense that Xiao Ai is wrong. Hattori Heiji glanced at Hii, and Hii also frowned at Hattori Heiji. It was too deliberate, and Ten suspected Hattori Heiji was here on purpose, and he tracked them to come here. Playing but Hii just suspects, and there is no evidence. And Conan is also using his brains to find a way to stay here. Well, Sister Shaolin, can we live here? Conan Kieguang looked at Shaolin. It seems that here, only Shaolin can do it, and other people will probably ignore him. What do you think of Sonoko? Shaolin didn't directly agree. After all, this villa belongs to Suzuki's family, so she still needs to ask Sonoko. Conan looked at Yin Yin nervously. Sonoko, don't drive them out. Forget it. Let them stay here for 2 nights. Sonoko nodded in agreement. Chapter 1000. The vinegar dried up was jealous. Hattori Heiji and the others stayed here. This villa is too big, and there is no problem for them to stay here. Tisk tisk, the 2 gods of plague are here. I don't know if something will happen. Chentan said lightly that Hattori Heijiri and Nan are both gods of plague. Now in one piece, there is still a very high possibility that something might have happened. However, there are no other people here. If something really happened to them, it might be one of them. But this should be impossible. After all, the people here are mostly people with auras. How can 2 things happen so easily? For example, Yuanta, Mitsuhiko and the others, although I don't know how many times they died, but it's not that nothing happened. Of course, even if something happened, it had nothing to do with Chen. Anyway, as long as the people he cares about are okay. We're going to climb the mountain, are you guys staying here? Tongzi asked Hattori Heiji and the others. I want to be with Xiao Ai. Ayumi said with her hand raised. Ayumi likes to be with Xiao Ai very much, and Xiao Ai doesn't reject Ayumi, which makes Chen very surprised. You must know that Xiao Ai doesn't really like to communicate with others. Even at home, at most, she communicates with him and her sister Miyano Akemi. But this is also a good thing. Chen didn't want Xiao Ai to be so cold all the time. Let's go with us too. Conan looked at Chen with a strange light in his eyes. 3. What is the purpose of their coming here? It's not to watch Hyuga Chen, to prevent Hyuga Chen from taking advantage of Shaolin, and Yi, so of course they won't stay here when they hear that Chen and the others are going out. With a few of you, I always feel a little uncomfortable. Sonoko looked at Hattori Heiji and Conan and said. Hattori Heiji and Conan's mouth twitched. But now I still have to live in Yuanzi's villa, so it's better for Ren Zhao Yuanzi to talk and not to offend her. After that, the garden said nothing more. Follow them. Going towards the mountain. Actually, I remember coming here before. The scenery here is very bad, especially when you climb to the top of the mountain. Don't look at the mountain's height, but you can still see far from the top of the mountain. Chenbei introduced. I don't know if it looks good or not. But it's true that it's hard to get here. Chen said to Yuanzi. Now they are at the foot of the mountain. The weeds at the foot of the mountain are very various and no one has cleaned it up. It is very flourishing. Also clean up those weeds. No, hee. In fact, this is the only part. If you go up, it's good to go. Shi Yuanzi hee laughs, and said to Chen. There must be trees on it, but there are not so many miscellaneous things, but the sea is what I said to Yuanzi. It's the same. After going up, I really have everything. I am so tired. Genta glanced at Hattori Heiji. Hattori Heiji's mouth twitched. Look at what I'm doing. Could it be that I'm carrying you on my back? 3. This is definitely possible. Heiji was beaten to death, and Hattori Heiji was determined not to carry Yuantai on his back. This is a mountain climber who would have to carry a family that weighs more than 100 pounds. Hattori Heiji would definitely die of exhaustion. So Hattori Heiji ignored Yuantai. Yuanta seemed to be angry before, so he ignored Heiji Hattori. The mountain is not very high, but after half an hour, Chen and the others came to the top of the mountain. How is it? Doesn't it feel very refreshing? Sonoko, I asked Shaolin and the others how their chi is very good today. There is no sun, you must know that it is summer. If there is a big sun, it can definitely kill people. The sun is blocked by the clouds. When you see the lush forests, you can even see distant villages. The wide field of vision makes Shaolin and the others feel relaxed. Going to school is also very tiring, so relax now and feel very relaxed. The proposal is really old, Kazuya said to Yuanzi. When Yuanzi proposed to go to the mountain, Kazuya refused to come, mainly because the weather was too hot, so I went to climb the mountain at this time. Wouldn't that be the death of heat? Even if it is not exaggerated, it will the heat stroke sounds, but I didn't expect the weather to be so good today. The breeze blows, and I actually feel a little cool. You were not satisfied with Yi before, but now you are satisfied. Sonoko raised his head and said, damn, it's really nasty. Conan's eyes were not far away. I saw that Hyuga-chan was talking to Shaolin over there. Conan's eyes were like Yuhi. 3. This family is so close to Shaolin. Ban Nan really wants to go up and eat it at this time. Flowers 0. This guy is so close to Shaolan, Conan is already jealous. It's too jealous. What are you still standing here for? Get angry and solve it. No problem. Hattori Heiji pushed Conan and said. Don't you want to hear it? Are the two of them communicating? Hattori Heiji asked Conan. Conan's eyes were hesitant. Don't you want to know? No, of course Arinan's heart wants to know. Bite Kiba, then Conan is jealous. Wang walked over and said to Chen and Shaolin, Sister Shaolin, what are you talking about? He saw Conan coming. Shaolin's face was slightly Yuhi moist, and she said to Conan, no, there is no communication. But Conan didn't believe it. Looking at Shaolin with Yuhi's face, and then at Hyuga-chan with a smile, Conan's heart was broken. Shaolin should not face Yuhi for no reason. The appearance of Tengatong Yuhi now. It makes Conan feel weird. Could it be that Hyuga wants this bad guy to bully Shaolin? 3. Hey, what did you do to Shao? Conan looked at Chen badly. What do you think? Chen smiled and looked at Conan, seeing Conan's anger. Yet helpless. Chen couldn't help but laugh. Conan, why are you talking to your brother Chen like this? Shaolin educated Conan in dissatisfaction. Educated Conan is very annoyed. Especially looking at the smiling face of Hippomechan, as if he was laughing at him somewhere. Conan couldn't help but want to punch up. Sister Shaolin, don't be deceived by him, he is not easy. Conan pointed at Hyuga-chan and said. Nada, Conan, although I don't know what made you misunderstand me so deeply. But brother, I'm really a good person. Very nice. Hyuga-chan talked to Conan and said with a smile. Conan pouted, even if he believed in this world no one is a good person, and Conan will never believe Hyuga-chan. Conan, how could you be so rude? Hurry up and apologize. Shaolin got up again in an arrogant manner. Apologize to Bai Shangchen. What a joke, even if he kills him, Conan will not apologize to Hyuga-chan. Even if Shaolin is angry, Conan will never apologize to Hyuga-chan. Cold hum equals Shen glared at Chen Lu.